Hey everybody, it's Cyborg, and I just want to preface this 100th episode with just a big thank you to everybody for tuning in and supporting us throughout all of these years. I can't thank you guys enough. This has been an amazing journey. Now, you're going to notice that this episode isn't up to our usual quality standards, and that's because we had about 10 of us crammed in a hotel room in Los Angeles where we were getting as close to the mic as possible without crowding each other, and we also had the air conditioning on, so you're going to hear that in the background in certain parts and movement and all that type of stuff. Some people are going to sound louder than others. I tried my best to fix that, but I mean, it's just, there's only so much you can do. And we also were recording on a very old computer, Razer's old laptop, so you're going to notice some skipping as we talk in certain parts. It's not too bad, but it is noticeable. So hopefully you guys at least enjoy the conversation. That's what you're here for, to hear what we thought the night of the event after attending the event. Plus we were joined by Temp and Django and Randy over Discord, so there was that involved. And I'm not sure how great the Wi-Fi was. So hopefully you guys are a little forgiving on the quality on this one, but enjoy the conversation. And we were super excited, and we will be back to our normal recording standards and quality on episode 101, and we'll have some content before then where we discuss the game. So, let's get to the episode. And I am joined by way too many damn people this damn late after a long damn day at the Mortal Kombat 11 reveal. And yeah, we're having a party. We got, of course, Temp, Django, Shad, Razor, and we are joined by Sai, formerly known as Ishi. Eventually he will turn himself into a symbol. We have BruskPoet, yes. Mr. Content Creator himself. We got RainReptile, local to LA. We've got Mr. Scott Howell from MKO, co-founder. We've got Fatalkade, newer? No, we've been there for a couple.
The new guy, kind of the Mortal Kombat Online.
There you go.
Yeah, Twitch guy.
Big helper on MKO, part of the staff. He's the big cheese.
He's a puppy.
And then we've got Monster for Christ, who, when you start in 2004?
2004, 2003. Damn. Way too damn long ago.
And then obviously over Discord, I believe we have Randy. Did anybody ever unmute that guy?
You did not. Free Randy control over that.
I'm not doing that. This is up to Django and Temp to make this work.
Let me add. I can add him. I got the power.
All right.
And Randy did.
So what we have right now, we have
what am I
this
kicking, Randy?
Do, and then we have the Discord showing on the hotel TV for all of us to view. So we're gonna have a good time here and go through all the things that we watched. Plus, we'll get obviously Temp and Django's perspective on what they watched, and we're gonna go through a lot. It's gonna take forever, so let's all just buckle in and have a great time, and then get very tired and feel like it's gone on way too long. So,
Randy, are you in here?
Randall.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, Randy's here.
Randy!
Free Randy.
In the house.
All right, well, so welcome, Randy. He's reporting in from his home. He was too good to hang out with us very much later, and that's perfectly fine. I honestly regret not taking his choice point.
There's a lot of gas in this room right now.
Yes, it's a lot of double cheeseburgers that were combined. Those things were greasy as hell, and they would not let us escape that place.
I did suggest record first, eat second, but
been nice.
fell on deaf ears.
I was starving. Yes. So where do we even begin with this thing? So,
Good lord, I don't know.
the beginning?
Yeah, the beginning. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So,
1992. I like the way you think.
so as we're arriving, right?
See, a man and a woman, when they love each other very much, so thing.
Brusk, cover your ears.
Not like I'm not
Yeah, there's 9 guys in a room right now talking about a video game. We have no idea how the beginning of life starts.
Yes. So
That's true.
Why don't we start with us taking the seats
us taking the seats.
by the stage?
No. Yeah, I think there was stuff that
The
happened before
secret
that.
meeting point.
So, well, yeah, there's a secret meeting point where we all got onto buses. Basically, it was raining, it was pouring.
That
anyways.
was Scott Howell last night.
Chad was doing that too.
That was you,
might
dude.
wanna get
It was
explaining
on
stuff.
its way.
Did I actually snore?
It sounded like you were struggling. I would seriously seek some help.
Not just
Okay,
snoring,
well, for the
struggling.
record, everyone, because there's only 2 beds in this hotel room, I had to pull up 3 chairs and sleep across them.
The
So it was a weird fucking angle.
It could be worse than the 3 chairs. You could have the 3 seashells. That's a shout out to Demolition Man. Okay.
And no, Tyrannex, I am not sleeping in the same bed as either of these people. I'm Canadian, not savage.
Hey, nobody would judge you for it.
Would you? Would you?
What pick?
So anyway, so we get shuttled off to this secret location. I thought we were just gonna round a corner and then we'd be there, like it'd be this big joke or something. But anyways, we get to the secret location. I still have no idea where the hell we were, by the way. So it was pretty well orchestrated. The bag over the head definitely helped.
I don't even know when I live here. I don't know where that was. Really.
There's just 1,000 hot dogs being shot into a bin right now.
That's our room right now.
So yes,
This is
exactly.
actually all accurate.
It's
This
a
is the sausage fest.
It's a metaphor for what is happening in real time. So anyways, so we get there. When we get in line, we see Paulo. So I immediately make a beeline to Paulo to get his vision. I later asked him to make a video for Django. Like, we love you, Django. We miss you. We wish you were here. But he said he was not allowed to say that. So whatever. Can't do that.
That's rough, buddy.
So we ran.
Hey, the thought that counts.
Yes, we ran into Max, and then he went on this huge tirade how much he hates Django, and then he was like, he's like, hey, you're those Nethercast guys, right? Record me saying this, and then as soon as I did it, he like triggered it into like saying that I asked him to say these things, and then he turned it around on me.
Yeah.
That guy he's crazy, he makes up things. He's also,
That was the
Said something
sick. That
along
was
the
the
lines of
sickest
actually
shit.
loving Django. And...
yeah, he's like 7 feet tall, so good for him. I'm sure big feet and all that, but go Max,
Right.
Max Powers. So we saw Max. Who else did we run into? So, at this point we get into the event, right? Well,
Right, Steve.
Scott did send me a message from further up in line, so I did see the future there for a little bit.
Yep.
And then we got inside. We ran into Steve Baran, who was really cool. Talked to us for about 15 minutes.
Oh yeah.
He was awesome.
Got a picture with him. He was totally cool.
Yeah.
He was curious how we would feel after we saw the reveals
How
and all
you
that.
got in there?
Yeah, wondering how. That's a good question.
I actually got to speak to him afterwards, and he was really telling him, how I was feeling about it, and he's awesome. He's so fucking.
Very appropriate.
Yes. No, he was easily the nicest person probably that we met there that talked to us.
I would agree.
Yes. So Steve Moran, shout outs to him. Total awesome dude. Did not need to spend that amount of time, and it didn't seem like we were holding him longer than he wanted to be. He was legitimately just took interest in talking to us about this. He could tell we were longtime fans, so that was really cool of him. So shout outs to him. Thank you, sir. Doubt you're listening, but hey, if you are, you're amazing. So you do you. And if you've listened to this, you're even more amazing because you have good taste. Or maybe not.
All right.
Dial it back.
Yeah.
Top of the list now.
All right. So anyways, we continue on, and at this point, yeah, we can just fast forward to the reveal event itself. We sit down.
Yep.
Scott was boasting about how he was all over the stream, basically. Any comments?
John Vogel texted me. He's like, "Hey, I just saw you on stream."
So yeah, he's getting shout outs from the devs that aren't there, and he's like, hey, you're all over this stream, you naughty boy you. So he's like, you need to tone it down out there. So yeah, Scott was going wild. He was getting a little out of control, but
He took his
as
shirt
he
off at
does.
one point.
Yeah, we had
so-
those chasing down.
So anyways,
He
we're
was
having
flossing with it.
we're having a good time, and we saw the same thing you guys saw. So all of a sudden, we get counted down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which is pretty cool. Led into the trailer, and we don't really need to go event by event in the trailer. I figure we just break down because I honestly do not remember in
Well,
what
we got,
order we
like-
saw it in.
We got like 3 or 4 separate trailers. There's no way to remember what in what.
Yes.
order.
Yeah, there was the
Yeah.
story mode, there was the fatality trailer.
And then there
There was a different version in
Well,
London too.
The gameplay one came first. I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, with showcasing Sub-Zero.
Yeah, but even the gameplay one Oh yeah.
The gameplay
We're
one
arguing
had a little-
about what we just literally 5 seconds. So, anyways, let's talk about characters, right? Let's talk about gameplay. These are all things that we all came for, and we're super excited. I know Django and Temp were especially because I mean that's their jam. So honestly, what into characters?
Oh, I love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's scary how much of this game is just completely and utterly a response to MKX. It's like if you take MKX and just flip it inside out, game. It's crazy. Oh, God, where do you even...
I know. There's a lot there. There's a lot there.
What do you say?
Okay, well let's go like piece by piece of the gameplay. So, happy about that?
Well, I'm definitely happy about that, but it's they boosted everything else. Walk speed is really good. Dashes are cancelable. Now, what that implies, we'll probably get into more later. But just movement overall seems a lot better. There's forward projecting strings still have pretty good options even without the mobility. God, it just is so good. And you have interactables, of course, too, so that helps with the mobility.
You don't even use
There was a
the
mattress you could
interactables,
jump off of. It was kind of tight.
So, how does everybody else feel about the no run? Razor, you were one of the...
Yeah, but what I did notice is that there are some moves for certain that have a run built in, like Sub-Zero's forward 4. And on one hand, that's cool because it gets you across the screen like you want to. On the other hand, it's a big startup and you're probably going to get stuffed.
You had said at one point, if there's no run in the game, that you wouldn't buy it?
I never said that.
I want to go to the tapes. Let me show me.
I did not say that.
Oh, sorry, this isn't the family feud. Unfortunately,
I really
not.
want Steve Harvey here.
Yes.
Just brings it up.
So how does everybody else feel? So I went on record before basically saying that I don't really have a preference. Well, I had a mild preference for run over dash just because I really did enjoy the speed of MKX and how fast you could get in, and it was just nuts. But at the same time, I didn't mind MK9 style, so dashing works. Injustice dashing was fine. So I think it's just a matter of, as Temp said, walk speed. All of those factors play a part. How does everybody else feel? I mean, it felt fine to me.
It kind of feels MK2, actually. I like that.
Like, as opposed to a hyped up Ultimate MK3, which is kind of what this feels more like a hyped up that. It's like, it's not exactly like MK9. I don't want to say it feels slower or more sluggish, but it's more responsive, I guess. The movement feels tighter, I suppose you could say. So I'm laughing at the That is accurate.
I see it.
So yeah, no, I agree with the whole closest to MK2. Anybody else get that vibe? I know we had mentioned that
Like
at the event.
MK2 and UMK3 both.
A little bit, a touch of it, because UMK3 you could run in as well.
Yeah,
it was
that's
faster
true.
paced in general, but it feels.
I mean,
like
9
MK2.
didn't have a run, and we all like 9.
Right. It's a cross between like MK2, MK9, in that regard.
Just to interject real quick, if we're being real, this game, if you ask me what game it feels like, Kombat, this game to me feels like a souped up Street Fighter 4. That's kind of how the mobility comes off to me. And especially with the way zoning works now, with the time-based meter, it just, once you blow your bars on, on whatever projectile you have, your opponent's coming for you. There's an actual walking is reminiscent of something like Super Turbo or even like modern Street. It's crazy to me. Neutral jumps is like
a lot of walking. You walk to get him, like kind of like Razor said, you can use like a forward advancing normal, but it's not that good. You're gonna do a lot of walking and it feels very slow paced and kind of everything.
It is great. That's exactly what I wanted.
And when you get in, you walk all the way towards your opponent. Now you have Street Fighter's neutral jump punch. So if I read a grab, now I can get a combo opportunity. Or if I just stagger into like say forward 1-2 with a character, I can neutral jump punch. And if you respect that, I get to keep my pressure. I've wanted something like that for so long. You're not just back punches anymore.
Yes.
Yeah. Juggling in general is.
Yeah, there's very little, like, I mean, I didn't obviously spend a whole lot of time learning combos to optimize anything crazy. In general, it felt a lot less of a factor, and if that's going to be if it's just non-existent, or if it was just make your hits count, so the your basic strings are going to be your thing, and then occasionally you'll get like a small juggle a lot. And he said basically moves, which we'll get into that change for, but with the enhanced moves, you will find some launchers that keep them in the air. So I think it's more about the enhanced moves pulled off, and you're spending meter to keep them in the air longer. You're going to see less 14 hit combos where you don't touch the ground for a good 15 seconds. So. Which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, combos are really toned down a lot. A lot.
Wouldn't in a way. My complaints about Injustice 2 was that the combos felt very easy and very homogeneous. Everyone had basically the same combo formula. So, at the execution end, I mean, I feel like execution is a big part of balancing too. Where's my biggest worry? My number one worry right now is where's the hard stuff? What am I working for? What am I training for? So, hopefully there's just frames or 2-frame links or something like that, but I still think we're a few weeks away from finding out what's kind of beneath the surface there.
Right. So continuing on from that gameplay related stuff, so no more stamina meter since no more run.
Thank God.
So that's gone. Bye-bye.
Interactables do spend your defense meter.
Yes, so now we have defense meter
I didn't notice
and offense meter. So you have like a little shield and a little sword or whatever. 2 bars for each of each other. There are some things that take up both. Meter or a bar of both defense and offense. Those are purely defensive meter, so they take up 1 bar each. Whereas like wake-ups, those take up meter as well. And wake-ups, and no longer are there wake-up attacks or special attacks. Now every character has the same options for wake-up. You can either do up in triangle or up in 2 or whatever to do... It's basically an anti-air wake-up if somebody's trying to jump in on you. Or you can do up in X, and that's just to get the hell off me, as they stated, just to get them away if they're trying to apply pressure. So if you're stuck in a corner or something like that. So those are wake-up options the character has. So no more are you like, man, my character's wake-up options are garbage, or I don't know what the hell to do. I'm just getting dominated. The change in how the meter works. I mean, there's more we can go into with that, but having defensive as well as the
I've always wanted meter to be gone, or stamina to be gone. I think, I don't know, Mortal Kombat X for me, it made me feel like so limited into what I could do. Now I don't feel that anymore. Of course, I'm still, the stamina is still being used when using interactables, but the fact is that there isn't many interactables in the game, and you can't really get to them as fast as you would with MKX because there's no run. So I think it's perfectly fine that way. But I feel like stamina, I feel like I have a lot more options to use in gameplay. I felt that I didn't have it at MKX, and I'm glad I have it at MK11. When I was playing it, it felt pretty good.
And they're kind of harder to use.
Well,
They took getting used to, for sure.
Yeah.
Those new wake-ups, those.
Yeah.
You have to learn new ones with each character. It's not like they all have the same...
I mean, it's the same inputs. It's always up triangle, up X. That's what I was told.
I thought it was... Randy, didn't you say some of them were different?
I thought it was, but I was wrong.
Oh, okay.
So they're standard across the board, which, thank God, because we got another change, which we can kind of... If anybody else, please stop me if you wanted to chime in about kind of transitions into basically no more meter burn. Now that's not standardized, so while wake-ups are standardized, meter burning, unfortunately, is no longer standard, or fortunately, depending on your point. Hold down block when you're doing a special attack to potentially meter burn it, now it inputs. So
Pro moves from MK versus DCU.
essentially, so while I was doing Baraka with Baraka on Razor, I just randomly guessed what the enhanced version was, but it's down back X to, or down back, but then to keep it going, you can press down, mash that, the bar to keep another bar to keep it going. So that's my offensive meter. So that's how that worked. And you can keep moves going that way. But every single move for every single character has a different enhance. So you're going to have different inputs that you got to remember. So maining a character or trying to play multiple characters might be a little bit tougher. Overall, though, I feel like the game... I don't know if anybody else...
Well, the thing is...
It feels much more beginner.
That the way it is making, and it's one thing I've asked for is making every character feel different, and making learning every character feel like a unique experience. And I think that's what you should do with a fighting game, because you don't want to spend so many hours training with one character and then go to another character the same. Because what's the point of changing another character if it feels exactly the same?
Sure.
So I'm open to this change. I like it. I had no complaints of when I'm loving what we're talking about so far.
Temp Django, thoughts on the change in enhanced moves?
It's gonna be more memory intensive. I guess my only lament is that it's gonna be my EX move. And not happiness about the thing, but I mean, it's fine. I mean, it definitely adds, unique flavor to the game. And I guess just kind of to briefly revisit Wake Ups, it's so interesting because this game has Tekken's Wake Up system, it has Third Strike's Red Parry, it has Super Turbo. It's crazy. What is going on? I think the Wake Up window in MKX was kind of bunk. So, as for enhanced, I just don't know. I wish they had talked about this change. It feels a little arbitrary to me. It's like, well, what was wrong with just pressing block? But maybe they know something I don't, and it does make the game a little more interesting. But Django, what do you get?
No, this is something I'm gonna have to touch to see really how it feels and check it out with more than one character and see how much of a problem it is to memorize different stuff. But no, on paper it sounds interesting. This part, but yeah, this part specifically is just I'm just gonna have to wait and see.
Right. So continuing along,
because for Baraka, you do like down back 1 for his fireball, and then to meter burn. But then for like Sonya, she has like this anti-air move, and I think it was down back 2, and then to meter burn that you hit down and L1. So there's some real weird shit in.
Yeah, that is weird, because L1 is the thing that makes you change which way you're facing. That useless
Stance
button
switch.
nobody ever...
Stance flip.
yes, and stance switch is still in here, by the way, everyone.
Retarded.
A lot of characters had L1 EX moves.
Which
actually.
means the hitboxes are still 3D.
I would have hoped for like an emote button or something.
So, wave of negativity, but to bring it back, is that essentially, yes, the stance switch is still there, so there's still issues with the hitboxes potentially. Not that I said, we in that regard. But the great thing is, it seemed like all that dude that made that animation video that really loves and champions, shout outs to you if you're in the chat. It seemed like that guy's his criticisms of the animations and the stances and the way, like the fence punching, playing, like the stances were really solid. They kept their bases. There was no limit where they're doing all sorts of weird things that didn't make any sense. Their attacks were, they led with their body and they would actually take steps to like throw knees and stuff. I think they really revamped their animation and the way they fight. It just feels completely different than what we got in.
Smooth and fluid, yeah.
I love Sub-Zero's his idle stance here. It looks really, really, really good.
Yeah, it looks like he's conjuring an ice ball.
I mean, his stance was already good in MKX and Injustice 2, but in MK11, it's even better. Everyone has the same sort of subtle and very concentrated idle stance. That's what I've been asking as well. It's just a great thing to have.
They took that. They clearly acknowledged what that guy said.
Oh my God.
So
Add some positivity on stance switch.
Stop, we're dying here.
YouTube are gonna have no idea why we constantly laugh at nothing.
Why did it suddenly turn to a shitposting chat?
Positivity, though, I think stance switch, it still sound trivial, and it may even sound like I'm being sarcastic, but I mean this completely sincerely. Stance, it's a hard word to say. Stance switch. I mean, sometimes I just want to see the back of my character. Like, 4 weeks ago, someone was dogging on Reptile's alternate in MKX. And I'm like, but wait, have you seen the back of the alternate? And you turn them around, it's like, oh, okay, all right, yeah. So it actually aesthetically lets the game breathe, in my opinion.
There is one thing it's good for. We've just found out.
I don't think having a useless, to be honest with you, the hitboxes are lamentable, but I kind of like the novelty. I don't know if I want to get rid of stance switch, to be honest with you.
I don't think inconsistency is a novelty. At least not one that I'm whiffing in different stances as...
fair.
The average amount of times if I messed up your gameplay, though, how many times would it happen per match?
Every fucking time. Every time I've ever lost, it was because of that.
Come on, dude.
Well,
Yep.
How many hitboxes affect Takeda's neutral jump punch? How much can 3 hitboxes possibly affect that?
Dude, hitboxes affect everything, sir. Everything.
Everything.
Well,
What does that
Everything.
mean?
Speaking of whiffing,
Every.
so
He's doubling down.
So there is one
Everything.
thing that sort of bothers me about the hitboxes that is from previous games, and it's the fact that when you do a throw, and your character's arms on the model are totally going through the guy, you're still not close enough.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Well, you know, somebody fix the cylinder. Hello?
To be complimentary about the animation, there is a specific sense that I got that, I guess because of the way that they've overhauled things, like you actually do get this kind of sense now that the blows have a lot of impact. It does kind of feel like a couple of martial artists actually smacking each other around.
Yeah.
The fights feel very real.
Yeah, hard. Yeah.
When I was playing, maybe I'm wrong on this one. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but the character models seem larger on the screen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
They take up more space.
They take up.
In a
Yeah,
lot of ways,
absolutely. And conversation about run versus dash. I don't think run would really work with it.
In a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the charge, it takes a good amount of time to go from one side to the other.
Sure.
You can just
From top to bottom feels, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like the finish him takes up the whole screen. and stuff.
the time.
I'm sure you'll notice there's a subtle angle there before whenever you kind of move along the screen to give you the better view of the fighters.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's just a slight pan tilt of the fake camera, and maybe that wouldn't work with Run actually. Yeah, because it'd be too jerky.
Instead
It'd
of
be
the arenas being a straight line, it almost felt like they kind of went on a curve. Rotating
Yeah,
rather
the
than
courtyard
panning
in
over.
particular. The courtyard,
Yes.
you're looking at an angle. Yeah.
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 I like that. It felt
Kind of
3D without actually
Yeah.
being 3D.
exactly.
Kind of a throwback to like old Killer Instinct, you know?
Yeah.
Sure.
Complete Stages had a bit of that.
And the overall like big character nature and just I think it's the really obviously Unreal 4 gives it this polish and character model. It feels like Tekken, but still Mortal Kombat. Like it feels like when you're playing it, it feels like Mortal Kombat. Visually, it feels like it has the polish of a Tekken 7, where you feel like you're boxing. Like when I was playing, I felt like anybody else more so than I ever did with X in a way.
Yeah, it's also the judicious use of slow motion and the X-ray shots, but for one hit at a time instead of a long super.
Yeah, every once in a while an uppercut would give you that real close-up cinematic.
Yes.
Everything looks like it hurts and feels very
annoying at any point. I thought it would.
It's a pleasant
but I think
surprise.
it's I think it just makes it more smoother and more real. Just something, it just makes it feel a little bit, I guess, different.
I would say the reason why it doesn't bother you as much probably, and I feel the same way, is that with X things move so fast that if you slowed it down, it's like, wow, we went from 100 down to 10 miles. This game is slower and more methodical. The movement in general, like I said, feels more like MK2 or MK9. So if you're slowing from say 40 miles per hour down to 20, it's jarring of a change, and they're quick. So it's like you get your crushing blow, you see the jaw blow off and all that. But then it goes back to the fighting, so you're good.
And I think the crushers have specific requirements. I mean, granted, it does feel random to most of us, triggers it, but it does, there are specific requirements, so it's not a...
Apparently, he said it wasn't clear in the demonstration, the gameplay demonstration. And shout outs to his Twitter handle and everybody. He was super cool from NRS as well. He might be newer. He seemed younger. I didn't recognize him, but he was super cool, and he basically gave me all the info and more and just said flag him down if I had any questions, and he just gave me all the details on the game, whether they were covered or not. So he was really... But regardless, how the crushing blows work apparently is they're like in-game brutalities in the sense that you have to meet a certain standard for it to... Were normal uppercuts. Some of them would do the X-ray. Same with Baraka's knee and then kick. It would sometimes crush their chest and do the X-ray effect. It's because they're called crushing blows, and you did something that triggered that to happen, meeting requirements for brutality. So it's kind of neat how they did that, and that'll be interesting. So therefore, it's worth going.
I'm glad somebody found that out, because we were playing, I had no idea how that was
Yeah.
working. It's like, well, hey, cool, I did the exact same things I did last time, but it looked way better.
So yeah, that's another gameplay aspect. So no neutral jump punches, no more juggling. We covered all of that. Just in general, yeah, this game plays like no other. As we said, it feels like Temp said, it's a mixture of different elements that are successful from other fighters, which Mortal Kombat has always been.
Yeah.
I mean, they're big fans of other fighters. Admittedly, they're going to make sure and take the best elements from different fighters to make their fighter better, which is the right way to do it. So yeah, it just feels so different. Like, just right from the get-go, when I first started, I'm like, this does not feel like MKX at all. It doesn't really feel like MK9. It feels like its new own thing, where you feel certain elements from 9, from X,
It
from
reminds me of
2.
9, but it's not like... It feels like 9.
Yeah, no, I think anybody, when you first on it, you're going to be like, man, and these characters, like was mentioned before, they have weight. You don't anymore. It's like, these characters feel like really feel the weight behind it. And maybe
it feels
that's...
like a back and forth, not like you're just playing ping pong with your opponent.
Yeah, it's like
and over
MK2.
again.
They feel like there's weight to them. Yeah.
And that could be credit to the animation. Like the guy pointed out in his video, the criticism of what it was in X is that you lose the weight of the actions. They don't feel like the punches have weight to them if the animation isn't done right. So I think that helps, because clearly it's just night and day, just head and shoulders. This game just is beautiful. So getting into visual, and then we always jump back if we remember other elements we wanted. The colors were there right away.
Absolutely.
The life bars, no stamina meter, like the top HUD, removing stamina meter, making the win counter at the very top a small circle up there, made that whole thing look just much less cluttered. On the wrong bar for my stamina meter, or forgetting where the heck that is to begin with. The meter down below doesn't take up as much of the screen.
Yeah.
Now it's just in that tucked away in that 90-degree corner on each side. So that in itself is much sleeker. And you have your variation difference. So no longer are we going to have the gear reflect your variation. No longer are you going to have Kenshi missing his blindfold or Katana missing her mask, depending on what you play variation-wise. You can choose whatever gear you want and then choose the moves to go with them. It's not all in one. And then you can name that variation whatever you want and give it whatever symbol you want. Like you can, there's like 30 of that variation, so you can kind of customize it.
It's picking your character and you're customizing them. It's like, I'll take a number 2, I'll take a number 4.
So I think visually my favorite thing about the HUD and the text, I think my favorite thing is the way they write finish him. Like it looks veiny and it just pops out. Like
it takes up the whole length of the screen.
Yeah. Like it's very.
It kind of reminded me in the corners, like it had something like visually to do with Dark Raiden's.
The best way to just I had said in the past, we want this game to have style. We don't want it to be subdued. We don't want it to be so sleek. We want it to be Mortal Kombat and in your face. Just green.
Yeah,
this is Mortal Kombat.
They committed.
Yeah. Now, if I could give just a little bit of a sample of the gear options, I don't like a blue scorpion.
Purple,
That's
green
weird.
should not be on certain characters. The colors are part of their identity.
So I appreciate the effort that they put into making this game really pop. I think they listened to the feedback from MKX, where it was too drab and everything looked the same. But I think they went maybe just a little bit too far in the other direction.
That's that Injustice influence. Obviously
absolutely.
They.
I mean, maybe deep down all of us know subconsciously that like Sub-Zero is not meant to like wield yellow ice cubes, and so we'll all stay away from that kind of thing.
No, you're gonna see all kinds of those guys online. You see them most is at the towers, because it's random. It's
his mission to make the worst outfit possible.
Oh yes, no, absolutely.
So how do you guys feel about the visuals? I know you're not as like big onto that. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's well. First of all, the game looks really good. The colors look really good. The lighting looks really good. All the stuff that is not gear looks fantastic. But I was speaking earlier on our reaction, our live reaction. My biggest, I don't like Sub-Zero's current outfit, and my problem is, it's not about whether it looks good. Gear. It looks like he's wearing gear. It doesn't look like someone designed that costume, and that's the stuff I don't like.
So you're saying it's not like from head to toe, it doesn't feel cohesive. You feel like it's pieced together.
I agree with
that. It looks
like
Legos to me.
I feel that way
That's
for
a problem.
some characters. I can see where you're coming from with Sub-Zero. I don't think I get that with
Raiden, yeah.
Or
Sonya.
Or Geras either.
Some of the gear kind of gets carried over amongst all the characters, like red and gold outfit. Scorpion has a red and gold outfit. Sub-Zero has a red and gold.
So like color schemes, you mean?
Yeah, it's like color schemes. It's kind of like they just copied and pasted the palettes across some of the gear.
Well, there's a lot of gold in this game in general.
Lots of gold, yeah.
I mean, with the bright yellow.
I mean, the logo's gold.
The room was gold.
Yes. It was gold lit.
The room was fucking gold.
I love it. Give me
I think the biggest problem here is, well, just real quick, I was going to say what made the costumes, especially in Deception and Deadly Alliance, so good is you really felt like the costumes adhered to a theme. And it's like a Deception, the theme was the cryo armor. In MK9, the theme was, classic, and what's Sub-Zero's theme in MK11? Funny hat. That's not a theme.
His base one does have that funny hat.
Yeah. What is going on with that? Django, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the spectacle with this game so far. It's really entertaining to watch. I'm sure it has to be entertaining to play. This is just like I said, as far as visuals go, the spectacle goes. I like it, and you've already gone down a list of things that I had in mind, and all of those things I'm happy that they added. But it makes me slightly bummed because we've had a lot of meetings, me and the iBallistic guys, the game that we're working on, and so much of what's in this game, what we're doing in the other one, it's so crazy. It's funny though because we came to the same conclusion. The spectacles was no, MKX has no. The moves don't feel weighty at all. We have to. We're going to move the camera closer. We're going to have a better screen shake. The animation's going to make things feel chunkier and slower. And everyone has had that feel. They had the same feel too. That stuff. Having quick things where the camera is pushed in. So yeah, I really like everything they did. And there's a lot of similarities. It's fine. I'm going to love this game a lot. Because they've done a lot of things that I wanted. They so much, even the walking and the spacing and the emphasis on the shorter combos. There's so many things that I was like, man, this would be my favorite Mortal Kombat if they did this stuff. And 85% of it's in this game. But spectacle, yeah, I like what they're doing, and it looks so much more fun to watch. The framing, the cinematography, what they're doing with the camera, how they're using the camera, what the HUD's. It's all look like a good game. Is a huge thing. Man, does this game look fun to watch?
Did I read your final hit? It goes to slow motion, and then the big.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that final hit is more because before it was just kind of you get the final hit and you don't even know what happened, and it's kind of hard to follow. But now it's that's it. That is the final hit.
Yeah, I was purposely trying to set up that as cool as possible. Mm-hmm. Baraka's knee, it's just his leaping knee that would follow up with a straightforward kick as a combo. And sometimes it would bash in their chest. Yeah, I was trying to finish with that because it just looks beautiful. So there are definitely some certain moves that just look really good as finishers on their own, regardless of a fatality or anything like that. They just look, as you said, very stylish as the final hit. Well, it's all about that style, as I kind of has style more than anything. Definitely stylish. Even the menus look good. From like I said, everything looks good. Good contrast, colors, vibrancy. That display. It's just really the presentation is top notch. Better than it's ever been in a regard of, and I mean the graphics are just fantastic.
Oh yeah, the technology was bumped up huge. We were
the UI, the font, it's all very, very clean, extremely stylized.
Yeah,
very immediate.
And one day they fixed hair.
Oh yeah,
the hair action is just great.
Yeah, well, even going back to you would see somebody hit Sonya, and as her hair just kind of blowing in the wind.
Yes.
That from the impact of that blow, and it's the little things like that are really just they're a treat to watch.
It must be that Unreal Engine 4 because they got it's a huge improvement. But yeah, it just looks. I mean, they weren't kidding when they said it looks a lot closer to the trailer. And obviously there's still a difference. It looks just stunning, especially in person on the screen right there in front of you. Yeah. Probably on whatever it was. It was just super.
I'm curious about that too because every what I assume was a PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
You know, they hid the consoles, but for good reason.
I don't know if all of them were. Some of them
I
were
didn't-
worse than others. Some of them looked like they didn't look quite as popped.
They're like, we only got 20 PS4
Yeah.
Pros.
Yeah.
Sprinkle them in.
We spent so much money on these damn hourglasses.
The one I played at the end, the textures did not look as solidified.
But there were no
there's-
Xbox One X's.
So there's
Yeah.
definitely a difference between PS4 and PS4 Pro with this game.
At least at this stage. I mean, we don't know what the finished product is.
It's possible.
I was considering upgrading anyway, so maybe this is a sign that I need.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because all the promotional material for Mortal Kombat 11, leading up to the stream, right, on their Twitter,
Right.
said Xbox
Yeah,
One X.
it's been
we
Xbox.
get there, and then we got
just
Justin
a
and
floor
Ronda,
of
It's just
PS4.
PS4.
Yeah.
and we got us here in LA, and it's PlayStation 4 across the board.
Yeah, I thought it was because
Not
of
one
the
Xbox.
I thought it was because of the new PlayStation thing where they're not going to be at E3 and they're just waiting for everything until like the PS4, PS5 or something.
Yeah.
But like no, I guess like PS4 is still NetherRealm.
It might have been separated by events because at the London one, like they had like Xbox One across the announcers thing, like right there in front of the camera and all that
interesting.
stuff.
Could be.
I mean,
So
a
it
lot
might
of
be
it,
the two different places.
Well, there's
Yeah.
definitely no Switch there.
So yeah, that would make sense that Xbox maybe was sponsoring the London one, whereas the LA one wasn't as much. So
Yeah.
clearly.
It could be a budget thing too, because if they got to buy 100 consoles. They want to spend the money for an Xbox.
Like we gotta,
on top of them paying like over $500 for each person when they're flying people out. Cause because they flew.
they're
people
like,
out there, so.
we'll have to give them Xbox, but damn it, we'll at least make a couple ice statues to make up for it.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Right.
but yeah, that's interesting. Gameplay, visual wise, I mean, are we ready to start talking characters? What do you guys?
Can we talk about music?
Sure,
Yes.
go
Oh,
music,
yeah.
go.
Yes.
Django loves music.
The sounds of music in this game are actually beautiful because when I was playing with Shad earlier, we took a brief moment to actually listen to the courtyard, the ruined Shang Tsung's ruined courtyard, and it sounds very oriental. It's actually, I think Django might like that.
I think that the tracks from the three stages that we've been able to play in, more so like the courtyard and the Black Dragon bar slash
Club, Fight
Fight Club, yeah.
That one particularly sounded kind of like EBM guitar driven, very suitable for like I don't know, like a night out with like a bunch of dangerous. Like, it's just, like each track here actually feels like it sets itself apart, has its own identity.
Yes.
There's kind of an MK3 vibe about them,
Yeah,
almost
I
a
agree.
little
Yeah.
bit.
That's exactly
They
what
stand out. This is like
Which is very appropriate.
yeah. This is
Yeah.
a total. It's a total 180 away from the generic direction a lot of MKXs could not be happier.
If
Like
you're
that
going,
neutral techno or whatever the hell.
yeah,
it
if you're
was.
going timelines and you're gonna hit some of the greatest hits, some new locations among these stages that have been in throughout the games. Yeah, give them all their own identity. Don't try and make like this is the overall sound of this game. I like the idea of this stage sounds like this. This game sounds more like this. So maybe you'll have some MK2 vibes, some MK3 vibes, some whatever MKX vibes.
No
But,
dubstep and rap, if anybody was wondering.
Yeah, there's no.
Yeah.
You know, I noticed that in like the trailers they were showing, there wasn't any of that either. Like, I particularly like the music in the Geras reveal trailer because it reminds me of it reminds me of the opening theme of Batman Beyond. Yeah, I hope that's in the game.
And he walks out for.
You guys notice anything on your end?
I think from the stages, I heard the music from much of a fan of it, but it just sounded like the stuff.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
it mode, the prologue, that also sounded like the orchestral stuff, and it,
To be
which
fair,
makes sense.
when
like
when
usually what
Raiden
they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hire out for the story mode music.
Yo, we gonna kill an elder god. Let's turn it up.
Story mode, it makes sense for like the music to be like sort of cinematic and like
For that moment,
yeah,
yeah.
orchestral.
And related to that too, you know, a lot of people are wondering, okay, they spent a bunch of money to get Ronda Rousey in here to do big for promotion, blah blah blah. I actually thought what I heard of her doing the voice acting for Sonya sounded great.
Yeah, me too.
She
Yeah, I thought
actually
she-
did good. She kind of sounds like specifically like kind of like MK4 Sonya's voice to me.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
a little bit.
yeah.
It's over, Jared.
That's not a good thing.
Oh, if we could just back of her like just doing the whole MK4 ending.
You know,
It's over, Jarek. You're coming with me.
never Sonya.
The Black Dragon live on.
So yeah, sound.
Well, so the
we
people are
just
asking about
kinda
this.
skipped right to
are so satisfying.
Yeah, sound effects of the moves and specials.
That's
Pure
what makes it
ASMR to my ears.
Yeah. When you get like punched, or if you're seeing like a crushing blow happen, like you hear it and you feel it.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially with the headphones.
And a subtle vibration of the controller going on there.
Oh my god, headphones. Just catch those Astro headphones with the MK.
Those I want those.
I asked about that. They said they asked the company to print custom covers for the headphones. And
so are they going to be for sale?
No, they just did this for the event.
Mobster for Christ decided he has to all of a sudden make the bed.
There's this silky little red thing.
He's so excited.
He's like over here
sitting on it,
doing the little like.
I'm
throwing it up just to make sure it spreads nice and evenly.
Sliding right under Shad there. Oh my god.
I just teabag Shad.
Just teabag Shad's knee, but it's okay.
If you hear any strange noises, it's a pillow fight.
Yes.
There are 9 sausages in this room.
Yes. All right. So that's the sound. Yes. I mean, I think the sound from the visuals, gameplay, so far everything is just delivering, and I think overall the package is just wonderful. It's a mighty package. It's just great.
It feels like playing in an arcade. Maybe that was just the setting that we
Yeah,
were in.
yeah. I kind of got that vibe too. I wish we could play on arcade sticks, but that was the only. I can't wait to get the beta and just play on an arcade stick and have that feel. But
one day I'll get used to that.
It takes a while. You got to grind it out for a week.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how I learned. But anyways, so characters.
To Rousey, I think.
Yeah, let's start with Sonya.
Sure.
Should we met her?
Yeah, the Scott, Fatalkade, and Mobster for Christ caught her before she was leaving, and they, because I don't think this was kind of an observation I had when we were at dinner, but I don't think she for safety reasons, maybe for security reasons.
Yeah, it's probably because, she's a big celebrity.
She's there to promote the game, the game's not there to promote her.
Yeah, she's clearly the most popular one, like, most well-known, I guess I should say, one there. So, yeah, I didn't see her at all, but they managed to catch her as she was leaving, so they got a picture with her and got to meet her.
It was right place at the right time.
Yeah.
We happened to step outside.
Do you think it was to keep her safe or to keep the crowd safe?
I mean, it's possible both. Yeah.
But I will say, for whatever it's worth, she was a total sweetheart. She didn't act like she was too busy to talk with us. Yeah. She was joking. She was giving hugs and high fives. Very, very sweet, very genuine, and it was good to see that.
And she's also a genuine Mortal Kombat fan.
Yes.
Yes. You instantly know that. She knows her shit.
You can just pick that up,
like,
you know?
It's hard to be... It's like, to those... I'm specifically speaking to those who are, like, disappointed at Sonya's inclusion, voicing her in the game. Mad at her, for one, I don't even care. 2, I feel like I enthusiasm for the franchise. Like, she really genuinely speaks like she's a fan character.
It wasn't fake at all.
It's not fake at
It
all.
didn't come across
so,
fake.
Like, it's kind of sweet to me seeing her, being so happy about her role. And I'm really happy for you. I'm really glad you got what you want. It's like
I was just worried this was a giant like MMA promotional celebrity stunt, and no, it is really not.
Well,
and as far as you know.
Here's the thing about. All right, so people disappointed about Sonya being in, and a lot of that, like Johnny and Jax, Kenshi, it's because their kids were a thing in X. We have only seen one of the kids now,
Cassie.
so it's like you can't. That argument, it's like the kids are actually the ones taking the back seat.
Yeah. She might be the only one.
Yeah,
honestly, there's a chance she might be the only one back.
Well, it's weird though. So if you think about it, though, if we're going to be doing this whole back and forth timing in the game, how part of the game are they just not playable?
Well, I would just think that they just don't have those costumes, and their role in story is that they're against Kronika because they don't want to not exist.
I can see that. I can see that working. Maybe I don't know.
So how did Rousey and the Sonya reveal? I mean, we didn't really touch upon her gameplay. Gameplay-wise, Sonya
looked
like a lot of fun. Like
No more drones. She is. I played her for a while.
Yeah, no more drones.
She looked like, I mean, there's only 7 characters, and I'm talking about tier right now, but she looked high tier.
Yeah.
Sonic Fox.
I actually
Yeah.
agree with that.
I know. Temp, you always say you hate watching Sonya's gameplay. I don't think you'd hate watching this Sonya's gameplay. It's acrobatic, it's grapply, yet game flows.
Yes.
The fights always flow, but Sonya especially, she's very fluid in her motions. It's not jerky at all. She just like kind of moves in and out nice and smoothly, and I have a lot of fun playing her. I probably played her in like 10 matches.
Yeah, if you're somebody that thinks Mortal Kombat looks like the movements look janky, not in this game.
Not in this one.
No,
not at all.
It's
not
very
even a little bit.
smooth and fluid. So, how did you guys feel about Django Temp, Randy? How did you guys feel about Sonya, her gameplay, Ronda Rousey, all of it? we obviously had the live experience. Maybe we're more forgiving because of that live experience. We were part of a big crowd. We were all having fun. How did it come across on the stream to you guys, like, from your point of view?
You're eating again.
You need some time to think about that.
I think the stream went well. I did get I started getting a little testy after like the went on for a while because I mean being up there, but I didn't love how long she was up there and how much time they devoted to it because it's like, you know, we're all here to see. Everyone is in this room to watch Mortal Kombat. Everyone is tuning in to watch Mortal Kombat stage for like 5 minutes or something. And the show didn't even go on that long.
Right.
Like the actual proper stage show was not that long. So that was the only part of the demonstration, the presentation that I wasn't in love with.
Well, I will say, for those of us who were there in person, it was shorter actually.
Yeah,
it didn't feel long.
I thought it was 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Felt very short. Cool. I thought it was really, really awesome. She seems like, you know, she's a real fan. And I just really like it. I think it makes Sonya not as hard to swallow.
Gross.
It gives her some kind of badly needed personality and like approachability and I don't know. Case of the warm and fuzzies.
Yeah, if anything, it might soften up Sonya a little bit, which is I think a lot of people's complaints about Sonya is that she's too.
I mean, she's got a
rugged all the time, and
badass bitch.
She's got a wind pose now, where like she literally blows a heart made of dust at the camera.
She kisses you.
So maybe we'll get a Sonya that has a little more charm to her, and not so much of a cold-hearted bitch, I guess, for lack of better term. But
because in MKX, she was like a shitty mom, shitty wife.
Yeah,
I never looked at it that way.
To me, that's what MKX ruined Sonya for me, or that MKX ruined Sonya for me. That's really what made me not want her in MK11. But after
I'd agree with that, by the way.
But after 11 and playing her a little bit, and or going up just hearing the intro dialogues, I actually really like her. Like, I just have to Sonya being in MK11. I never thought I'd say that, but I think Ronda Rousey really did help Sonya for MK11.
Now, do you guys know, did they face scan Ronda for Sonya?
Yeah. So her primary, like the MKX costume, looks like Ronda. The other costume, which looks like young Sonya, does not look like Ronda.
All right.
It looks slightly different, but I think
it's prettier and younger, and I think it's weird because I feel like the Ronda's voice and Sonya's moves fit the young Sonya better.
Yeah. And that's what I like. I've always liked young Sonya better. It reminds me a little bit about Bridget Wilson from the movie. Sure. And that's my favorite version of Sonya. So if you're reminding me more of.
She's a Sonya that's less hardened, less grizzled. Yeah, definitely still some humanity left inside of her. Temp, I think you're the only one that hadn't really weighed in from your guys' side. What do you think? Did she change your mind at all from the gameplay you saw, the design you saw, the?
Well, I will say this: the way MK11's built is so conducive to Sonya's feel like was problematic in MK9, and especially in MKX because. In MKX, every character plays like Sonya. You make a guess, if you guess right, you get a bread and butter. And just this game, I think will finally let the character breathe. I think this game will bring back classic Johnny style as well. I don't. To tell you the truth, the audio was very bad on the stream, so I'm going to reserve all judgment. Yeah. The thing is, you like it. I don't even want to judge really. Different scenario. Before, if I talk trash about Sonya. I'm talking about a character, talking about basically a series of polygons. Ronda basically is Sonya in this game, and you can't. I don't really want to say anything bad about Sonya because I don't want to say anything bad about Ronda. She's a real person with feelings. That's not to say the previous voice actress wasn't, but like, it's clearly you can basically character without reflecting negative acting. But this is basically a set piece for Ronda. So even if I didn't like it,
you're padding your opinion so hard right now.
I have other good stuff.
It's okay, man. It's okay.
I will say this. I'm a stuff I didn't like from MKX. I hated the drones. I don't know if I'm in love with the turret, but we'll see.
Turret is called
When they ever looked, it was super good.
The onion rings. Ooh.
The turret is hilarious because it jumps on you and like mounts your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, Razor was literally like he played Sonya against me, and that was the first time I think I went up against Sonya.
Yeah,
and
when I pulled the turret out, he didn't know what follows you around like Pharaoh when she's knocked off of Tor.
yeah, it's just like a little toy on the ground.
He was
so
trying to attack it.
I'm like, what is going on with this thing? And all of a sudden, it's wheeling its way over to me, and I'm like, what has happened? And then I didn't expect it to actually jump on me like a face hugger, so it creeped me out. I don't know. It's weird, but
She named it Johnny.
yeah, no, I like it. I honestly, at the end of the day, my thoughts, the character's done well. Regardless of how the roster shakes out, she has done well. I can't take that away from the character.
100%. I agree. 100%.
Whether we would have rather a different character make it over her, that's another story that we can only address once we actually have the entire roster. But at this point, at least she's done well. That's my only real...
For me, because I'm a story guy, it looks like she's going to be, like, important leading people. Like, there's bits where you can see, like, she's part of an attack in the Netherrealm at Lu and Kitana's palace or something. So I feel like now that we know stuff like that, it's like we can see why it's worth having on the roster.
Yeah.
I think that might be my biggest problem with Sonya in this game. If I had to pick one thing, I mean, to me, Sonya's whole appeal is that she was sort of the normal military person on an island of supernatural warriors, and I feel like they've gotten so far away from... Sonya is not interesting to me when she's leading an army, when she's surrounded by troops with guns. The whole point of Sonya is that she's not in her element. That's what makes her interesting. So, also, why can't they just make her green? I'm so tired of blue Sonya.
Well, the shaders might do that
for that, yeah.
I also was complaining about that during her reveal too.
There is a green shader, I think.
Yeah.
I put that one on when I was playing her.
Also, I just want to make one final note on Sonya. I especially love how they brought back her MK3 hairstyle.
Yeah.
And I love the little bangs that hang over her headband. It looks so beautiful. I love it.
The design, gameplay, done pretty darn well.
Just to touch on the gameplay with Sonya. Now, anybody who's seen me play MKX or MK in general knows that I'm a Johnny Cage guy all the way. That being said, I think tonight it's safe to say that I mained Sonya to the point where I had her take.
What the hell is that noise?
Django.
Django is eating into the mic.
He's literally just eating over his talking.
Django is eating.
See his icon
From
going.
a subway.
Shit.
Dear God.
But as somebody who's a Johnny Cage main, I will tell you that so kind of like Johnny Cage in a little bit.
And
Which one?
Which
Yeah, I mean how her fighting style.
which could be the reason why we see Johnny as an MP or kind of an NPC in the background. I'm wondering, is this is she and Cassie gonna be a replacement for Johnny or something?
I think.
Like we'll probably get into the NPCs that we saw in the background a little bit later, but that may be something.
Yeah, you might be right there, and honestly, I hope not, because I love Johnny Cage and he is my boy. But I will say that
Allegedly, we saw Johnny in something somewhere today.
Yeah, in the background. He had a very plain looking design. It was just jeans and a t-shirt with a vest.
Video.
It was on the Warrior Shrine.
What were you saying?
No, it was in the Special Forces.
There was another video, like the dev behind the scenes thing, and like way in the background on one of the monitors, it looked like Johnny like on the select screen, like the big face of him and stuff.
I've heard something about that, but I didn't see it. But if you saw it, then we'll probably.
Well, that was
I think I saw a very
exclusive.
blurry take of that.
Yeah, I think that was just on the London stream.
Well, just because a character is in a background, it doesn't mean they're off the roster. Like Doomsday in Injustice 1 was in the Fortress of Solitude. And that would like change.
No, wait, what they said?
Well, if he was on the select screen, he's probably in the game.
Yeah, no. He was just talking about the fact.
Well, I'm just talking about in general because there's also.
I know.
There's also a in, so just in general.
That's an interesting point too. If Kano is NPC'd on one of the stages, then I think by default that means he's not going to be playable.
Well, it could change, like if you're playing Kano someone else's back.
Yeah, that's possible. I have some suspicions, and I could be wrong here, but the way that Kano was behind the fence and there was a hole right in front of the fence, it makes me wonder if there will be some sort of interactable or some sort of stage fatality related to Kano. It's
through there.
Yeah, it could be a long shot, but
Jumps out. A little bit of
there.
and there we go.
There it is. Somebody posted in the chat.
Yeah, there it is.
Kind of looks like Johnny.
it looks like story mode though.
That looks like the select screen.
It looks like
Yeah,
the
I don't see the select screen.
Some boxes down the lower right here.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, there's variations.
For those on YouTube, you don't know, but
But that could also do see something
I
related
hope
to the
that's not
dev.
his outfit if that's the case. It's very plain looking.
So
That could be the T1000.
we'll circle back to this idea.
Interesting.
We'll circle back to this idea that Cassie and Cage, Johnny, all make it into the game because this is going to relate to some roster thoughts overall. But let's keep rolling to the other characters. So that's Sonya.
Skarlet next.
Skarlet.
Sure. Let's go to Skarlet.
Do you want to take it off?
Do I want to take it off? Oh heck yeah! Oh, I am completely satisfied with what I had with what NetherRealm gave with Sonya.
Yeah.
I mean Skarlet. Excuse me.
Skarlet.
Hang on, Django, I'm gonna slap you silly.
We can hear you eating, motherfucker.
Dude, I'm trying to fucking refuel after all this Sonya talk.
It's almost like there's a mute Discord.
Eat
Skarlet's
pudding.
awesome.
It's not like we're
She was
bringing on
talking about
guests.
Skarlet.
It's not like we're bringing on guests onto the show just for you to eat over them.
On our 100th episode.
Not even talk over them. Eat over them.
Direct from LA.
Okay.
Eating.
100th episode.
We got Fatalkade trying to talk, and all you just hear is chips.
You're gonna have to edit this. The volume's all over the.
It's going up as is.
Of course.
Anyways.
We do not edit the Netherkast.
Oh my god. We used to.
Anyways, to continue what I said, I am completely satisfied because I don't know if anyone knows this right now. I think some people do, but Skarlet is my favorite female, and I've been asking for her, and I've been saying she deserves a second chance.
Yep.
She needs a gameplay revamp because she was basically Blood Melina, and I've always thought she had a character with a lot of potential. And what I saw in the reveal trailer, it was so different and it was so new that I almost thought for a second it was a new character, and I was afraid for a second that it actually was. And then I saw it was actually Skarlet, so I was like, okay, thank God it's not actually a new character. But yeah, everything that was so needed. It was very much needed for Skarlet, and I like what I had. I played her like exclusively. With the demo that I had and on my time during recording, I almost played her exclusively, and I like it so much. I do like the short hair, the choice with the short hair. I like it a lot. It's probably a thing with me if I have a bias because I like girls with short hair.
Well, it looks good on her.
Yeah, it looks good on her.
Makes her look a little older.
Yeah,
a little more mature.
Yeah. But yeah, it's everything about her. I think it's great. I don't care that she feels like a new character. I think that's what she needed.
Well, to be fair, she never really had a character to begin with.
Yeah, no, like she didn't even talk in 9.
Yeah.
Like now she's got this whole. She's like seems classy. Like her outfit looks like an evening gown, kind of.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting vibe.
She has her own. It's her own character that was very much needed.
Very cool, kind of a husky voice.
Yeah.
Laughs at you.
There's kind of her voice,
Yeah.
a ghastly, ethereal reverb that really, I think that adds depth to her character alone.
Yeah.
I think that was really, really pleasant to hear.
Yeah, I thought her design was completely badass.
Yeah, I liked it.
I didn't have the same experience as you. I assumed Skarlet just from, I don't know, I guess I just assumed, okay, we're getting Skarlet, surprise, and right away with the weird little cap that she has. Like,
yeah, like
I
the,
like
the
it.
desert outfit.
Yeah, no, I like that. Like, it's the old bombshell kind of style, and I'm a sucker, so I like it a little bit.
Diesel punky.
But yeah, no, I like that. I liked her gear that I saw. Plays awesome. I don't think she's gonna be crazy like that, but she just looks fun. She looks fun to play. I had fun trying her out. I like the blood scythe. I like all the crazy ways she manipulates your blood as she's attacking you. Her fatalities were sweet, so I'm glad to see her back.
I love
she
the one where
was
she's, like, pumping blood directly.
Yeah,
into
that
her
was
arm.
my favorite fatality.
I was gonna say the same thing. I think
She
it was
was-
one of my favorite fatalities.
She was easy to surprise to the characters we saw today.
Well,
when she was revealed at the
When-
opening, the whole crowd just went wild.
Yeah. I think, like, as far as the roster picks for this demo, Baraka coming back surprised me the most, but Skarlet impressed me the most.
There you go. That's a really good way to put it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was fun to see Baraka.
I was really surprised to see it.
Yeah, I don't think any of us expected
that. Was so fun to see how much of a badass.
And funny thing is, he's like the most crazy.
Yeah,
he's
he
like
was
the craziest character.
he
in the
was
game.
badass. Yeah.
So before we move on to the B-Man,
we need to get there.
Temp, Django, Randy, what are you thinking about Skarlet?
I got to play her a little bit, and she has some really cool moves. She has some nice long range tools. Her scythe goes really long range, and she has Quan's trance move, which is one of my favorite moves. So I like the way that she looks too. I mean, she looks fucking amazing. I really liked her. A plus.
Skarlet is Randy approved.
I the most like watch character that we saw. Yeah, I mean, just seeing her alone was a surprise. Obviously, she was like the clickbait character. Like, what? Scarlet's in there? Baraka, surprisingly enough, even dead, much of a surprise as Skarlet. I really liked seeing her. Everything that she did seemed cool. Yeah, she was the most gameplay and all that stuff. The best part of the shows go to me.
Interesting. Temp?
Skarlet, like, seeing, like, the blood dagger, because before you see Skarlet, you just see her dagger forming from blood, and I saw that, I was like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. I flipped the fuck out when I was like, oh my god, is that Skarlet? I have not felt that way since 2003. I saw the reveal trailer for Mortal Kombat Deception at Ninja. I was like, wait, what? What? That's not Ermac. There's no way that's Ermac. Even after the trailer, I was like, was that Ermac? It was so surreal, and that was like, I relived that with Skarlet, ironically, and yeah, honestly, she is probably like one of my, maybe the best part of the whole day for me. I could not believe she was revealed. She looks very good. She kind of looks like a cross between, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but she kind of looks like a cross between General Zod's
Ursa.
Yeah,
Definitely Ursa.
Yeah, a cross between her and like the pilot from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. If you kind of put those two together, that's kind of the bad thing. I think it works. It makes her a character. I think that was the big thing everyone had a problem with back in the day. She looks like random model. Like, so I think that it fixed that in a huge way. What I don't like is when I saw her in the exhibitions zoning. So I really need to see what the rushdown variations look like. Because I don't just want to do blood tentacles all day. I want something way more kosher than that. I want to make sure I have some sort of rushdown option. Because I don't really want to spend time with it. I don't want to zone in Mortal Kombat. That's just not fun to me. But I do really want to give the character a strong chance because she is by far the best looking character they revealed.
Well, hopefully, like, the custom variations will allow you to play the Skarlet that you want. I think that's the whole idea behind them. And I know that's the whole idea behind variations to begin with, is have different ways to play the character you like. So hopefully they do a better job at that this time to really give you that idea of rushdown versus zoner, defensive versus offensive, that type of stuff. So I didn't really get the zoner feeling. I'm sure
I
you
didn't
guys
play
got
her
it.
as a zoner at all. Like when I was playing, because I played her exclusively, I did not get the I did not zone at all.
She plays like Catwoman.
Yeah.
She plays like Injustice Catwoman.
Yeah.
Mid-range moves. The odd projectile.
She plays nothing the way she does in 9. Like, I didn't find any of the backwards teleport thing, the dash.
She has a Raiden teleport down up.
Oh,
in one of their variations.
That's not like the way she operated like Ermac does. Yeah, it's not like that. No.
So clearly, the competitive footage you saw was obviously more planar as zoner because that's where they found that she excelled at. But I don't
think it's gonna stay that way.
Yeah,
I think that's just because they hadn't learned how to use her up close yet. Probably.
There's also there are very few options, like 5 to 6 different moves to in the demo for per character.
Yeah.
If I could play her as a low mid-range character, that would be amazing. That would be so awesome.
The ritual, I think, like, she steals the character's health, like the blood.
It like surrounds her like this blood.
I mean, that's why it's weird to think of her as a zoner. She has an up close parry. What were you saying, Temp? Though.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, if I can play her as a low-risk mid-range zoner, I mean, that's Rose. That's who I made in Street Fighter 4 for years. So that would be. I mean, I probably won't main the characters because hopefully one of my actual favorite characters makes it back in the game. But at least I know immediately right off the bat I have some backup. So
sure,
get body Brusk.
All right, we'll roll on from
JK. Now that we know Skarlet's in the game, though, I'm really hoping for Natara.
Oh, well,
So-
there was something. She does have a gear piece in the game, it's Crimson Flask of Eternus, which is the Vampire Realm of
To be fair, all the gear names in Injustice 2 were just random names. Nothing.
But names in this one actually kind of meant something because they said something about Reiko and her gear, and of course she doesn't.
Yeah, there are different pieces that look like the name of Scorpion's MK2 mask sounds like something that you would associate. I don't remember what it was, but it sounded like early Scorpion-y.
Something of Rat.
Some's got one called like the Killer of Sector's mask.
Yeah.
Really, what I'm just hoping for is that they kind of screw things up a little bit, and when Skarlet performs some sort of blood-based special move on Natara just roids out. Just because they try to do a fatality, and all of a sudden she gets 3 times her normal size.
Well, I remember they played with the idea of doing something like that in MK vs. DC, where like Sub-Zero would not be able to be frozen by Superman's ice breath.
Like a reverse Mega Man, you know, instead of getting the bosses.
I think they decided they couldn't make it work because it would be unbalanced.
Then you're just getting the counter.
It's like in Deadly Alliance, Sonya's kiss couldn't blind Kenshi because he's blind.
Yeah.
Right. But fix that, you can't punch a girl in the nuts. Well, too bad, you're gonna punch.
What do I win?
What?
What do I win?
What do you win for what?
For saying base roster Skarlet last week.
Oh shit!
Oh,
did you?
Oh.
Wow! You get to push 2 chairs together and sleep on that.
You only have to do 2 sections of the newspaper.
Yeah. No, I think he gets the real bed tonight.
No, yeah, he gets to sleep on the bed.
Get my drink token.
There you go.
Actually, no, I want
Got him.
I kept mine too.
I want to say at the event we were all given like these silver MK Dragon tokens, and you could trade them in for a drink, and we all decided to keep them because of course.
Well, they gave me 2, so I traded 1 in for a beer, and I kept my other one.
I went to the bartender and I was like, I want to keep my coin, but I'd also like a beer. What can we arrange right now? And he's like, nothing. Wink.
I mean, I'm 19
Here's
years
your
old,
drink.
they gave me
See you
some.
later.
I was like, I have a rectangular green token made out of paper. Would that work?
So moving on from Skarlet. So we covered Sonya, we covered Skarlet. Let's wait on Baraka. Let's leave him a little bit later for heists and stuff. So let's move on to...
So Subby was the other reveal.
Yeah, let's say Sub-Zero.
Yes. So, Sub was one of the highlights
yes.
of the game for me as far as playability was concerned. Like, agile. Someone said agile to describe him earlier, and I feel it's totally. He feels like he's more open to offensive possibilities now than he hasn't been in quite some time.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with him.
People kind of like go in for the kill. He feels so accessible. He doesn't feel like a tank that I have to like keep in one place and like kind of knock people away all the time. Options with him now, and it's rewarding to play as him. I had the most fun with him out of any member of the cast.
Agreed, 100%. He's my main as of right now.
He also has the cold shoulder move from the 3D.
Yeah, one of his variations switches the slide for the cold things where he makes walls. The ice clone, and I think there was a tweet where 16-bit said it's not in the game.
Tom Brady and ice clone is not.
It's weird.
You hear that, Django?
Oh, I heard it.
One thing I did notice, the startup on the ice ball is ridiculously long.
Yeah.
You can get them, it's just you're way open.
You're sitting here like,
I found the best is either catch him off guard, which is fine,
slowly.
Yeah, it's like the movie.
It's kind of ironic considering his default stance looks like he's about to cause
he's like already in position with his hands, but then he like puts his hands it forever before he throws it out.
You can combo into it though, so
the game really nerfed moves that leave your opponent open for like a follow-up, kind of like the freeze ball or like they're all super.
Yeah, they have long startups like that.
Well, the spear felt smooth
they
to
actually
me, but
cost
we'll get
meter.
to that's different when we talk about Scorpion.
Yeah, for Sub though, yeah, he felt great. I had a lot of fun with him for sure. My only thought about Sub is in his design. I do see where Temp is coming from with the piece together.
It does look piecemeal. I don't know if I like his outfit.
Funny hat and all.
Well, I think the hat was supposed to be like their take on a China because I think that is
combine it with a Mortal Kombat ninja look, and it just it kind of didn't quite get the best of either world.
It felt like Assassin's Creed-y.
It
really did.
It feels like a choice that should be on an alternate costume.
Definitely. Like a costume pack from ancient China that they would release.
Yeah, I played the variation where it was pretty much classic Sub as much as possible.
And it looked good too.
I will say
the one where he was in white. And that
there's the one with
fun.
the headband where his hair's out. That one, it's a little weird, but I also like parts. See, I like parts of all of his outfits. The one consistent thing I notice is that they all have the scar. So I did know it does not have the beard under his mask when it gets knocked off, but the other two do. Like Sub-Zero was the only one who did, because the others were just their third was a palette swab.
Sonya had 3.
Sonya had 3. She had the Ronda
Baraka
Rousey.
had
Oh no,
3.
second and her third look the same, but with the jacket on or off.
Right.
But and the hat too. She doesn't have
Yeah.
the hat. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's gear.
Probably. Yeah, you're probably right.
But like the pants were the MK3 pants on both.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was the same pants, just different color.
And for the record, I'm on Team Funny Hat. I like it.
I like it too.
I'm with you on Funny
I
Hat.
actually like Sub-Zero's design. Except that I think the things on his
Yeah, he has
arm.
these giant Lin Kuei logos on his arm
Yeah,
for
that's
his
the only-
primary.
That's the
They look
weird thing.
Goofy, yeah. Like it's
They
kind of
look
like the
sharp.
cartoon scorpions on MK9 Scorpion's shoulder. It's way too much.
Yeah.
With Sub though, like his gameplay wise, he's still got an air with the back too, like where he swings the axe like very wide. You can do that anti-air and still catch them with an uppercut, so that's pretty insane. So I do like that. He's got an overhead. And this is a gameplay thing that we didn't cover, like the overall gameplay. I went through everybody's like combos to see if we got a lot of mix-ups in this game. Everybody's combos, they only have either mids and lows, or they'll have mids and overheads, or they'll just have mids. Nobody that I saw, at least on the roster we have right now, had overhead starters and low starters. Nobody.
As of right now, 50-50s look gone.
So
yeah,
I like that the mix-ups have been really
a couple of 50-50s.
It's gonna keep people more.
Sonya
honest.
definitely had an overhead starter.
for
It seems
combo
that they
or
scale very hard, though. Is that the case? Was that your experience?
Yeah, you couldn't really get much off of it, which is nice. There was a juggle off of one overhead string, but it's really hard to connect the following combo. But it's toned down a lot.
interesting. But yeah, so Sub, Django Temp, how are you feeling about gameplay, what you saw, design, everything?
Well, here's the thing. Like,
There's no Skarlet.
I've spent many hours learning Chronomancer, so like now that most of that is gone, that's kind of a somber moment for me. I was sad to see a lot of the Chronomancer stuff had been kind of flushed, but they clearly have a new vision for Sub-Zero, and I'll say one thing I'm happy about. Sub-Zero's design since MK9 has been kind of held hostage because of the clone. It's like, okay, we gotta design a character that's gonna make the clone balanced. And they never really considered what can we do to make this character fun. It's just always been, how do we make the clone work? So they finally said, you know what? Fuck it, we don't need clones. And they finally kind of built a character that made sense. And I don't know if Pure Rushdown is... He still has his back 3 low. And it sounds like it's like I heard 16-bit say scaling is a the 50-50s are pretty much a non-issue at this point. I'm going to learn every night. I feel like I owe a debt to that character because that character. So
when you say when you say that Cryomancer's gone, what do you mean exactly? Like he still uses like the cryo axe and
He doesn't have any.
He does in the white variation. I keep forgetting what it's called. He uses the daggers as projectiles in that, and that makes up for the freeze bolt.
I don't know if the variations that they pre-programmed are final because they all have like comedy names.
Well, like Ed's main.
The one that mentions
Sonya has one
called
called
Stormy Weather. Sonya's a Sonic Foxy. And
Yeah.
Which is
was
dumb. I don't like that.
Nah, that's ridiculous.
So I guess what from Cryomancer were you really hoping was still there, I guess?
Well, really, the big things for me, this is kind of what defines Cryomancer. For one, his forward 1-2 string. That is primarily what he uses for pressure, but more importantly, that's what he uses for confirms. If I do forward 1-2 and I see that I hit you, you're not blocking, I confirm into the 3, and that's how I get my bread and butter. That forward 1-2 sword combo, it's kind of like a side slash. It's not to be confused with the 1-1-1. That was so important to his gameplay, and that was a big part of his pressure and rush down. But also, another big part of that was the command grab you end your combos with. I didn't really like using command grab in neutral. I feel like the character became significantly less interesting when they give him that command grab, but I liked it a lot in combos because what it did is I ended my combo with either a hammer that gave me an Oki situation, so I basically get to set up a strategy, an anti-wake up setup, right? Or I could end it with an EX freeze, and what I do is if I freeze you at the end of my combo, I jump in, I do another forward 1-2, and that gives me a reset situation. You have to guess high or low now. So, I mean, the sad part is, now that they got rid of 50-50s, resets are not going to go into combos, they're going to go into pressure. It's going to be so much more interesting, and it's gone. Those are the two things. The third thing would just be the, really just the footsies. Just kind of like the mid-range game. I don't know if that was third. I like Cryomancer a lot, so I'm sad it's gone, but maybe it's for a good cause. I'm like Sub-Zero, and honestly, if losing Cryomancer is a price I have to pay to get rid of all the crap from MKX, I will put that on the altar for sure. No question.
So
I'm just glad we're not at the gunpoint of Ice Clone anymore. Get rid of that shit.
Okay, so there's a comment in the Discord. Frumblefoot says that there won't be any pre-made variations. That was just for the demo. But we've read that there will be for the tournament scene.
Yeah.
There will be 3 at least. They're thinking about adding more, but
they were talking about
Chef,
adding more as patches.
Yeah, so the tournament scene does not get custom variations, just to be clear, guys. There's no custom variations for the tournament scene. We only get 3, possibly 1 or 2 more.
Interesting.
Also, on the note of Ice Clones, I wanted to mention, so Sub has this in his second finisher where he pulls out the Ice Clone and knocks the guy on the back, and then because the Ice Clone has a sword sticking out, right? And then the guy gets impaled on it. Then Sub walks towards the guy, reaches for the stomach, then up the spine and jams it on the.
See, Ice Clone's still there.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Yeah, I noticed it.
But it's there.
I noticed it in Win.
Where it should be. No, Django, what are your thoughts on it? Being the big Ice Clone guy, where are you at on this?
I think he looks fun. I like the eye on me.
Literally, it is grown on me.
I've already bought one.
It wasn't help.
I like how it looks Chinese. I think that was a really interesting way to go with it. And at first it was like, but I'm seeing it in motion with gameplay today. Yeah, I like that thing. But I gotta see more of his gameplay. I'm gonna play him. Obviously, I always play Sub-Zero. And his gameplay does look interesting to me because of the clone. But since it's not there, but he has other stuff that looks really, really. Just the game, the actual game, looks. That's a huge deal.
Absolutely.
So if the game itself is Bloodborne-esque, don't distract me with Bloodborne.
It's the Dark Souls of fighting games.
It's if the game is really, really good, then it's gonna be fine. Just throw in a couple Sub-Zero moves, and I'm gonna be fucking at Christmas. And I think I am. Sub-Zero looks really fun to me, but I am gonna sit and go scour everything. I'm so looking forward to just the dump of capture footage that's gonna go onto YouTube any day now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be going over all that shit. I'm really looking forward to that. But so far, Sub-Zero is looking like a fine main.
He's a fine man.
He is. Let me just Sub-Zero. One more thing about him: his footsies game. That is real, man. That footsies game he has going on. That is.
Yeah, and
insane.
That's one of my favorite things about Sub-Zero. I love that playstyle. I love that whole footsie meta and whatnot. That man, that was one of my favorite parts of Mortal Kombat 9. And I'm really excited to touch that and to feel it. It's gonna be good. Takeda says that until Takeda is revealed. Listen, yeah, you're right.
So moving on from sub, let's go over Scorpion. Let's just hit the duo. They're brothers.
Can I go
according
first?
to one of our
Yes.
Uber drivers.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he thought they were brothers. He's just a.
He thought the guy's name was Scorpio, and I wanted to pinch his cheeks.
I was literally making
Adorable.
conversation with him, and he was like, "Yeah, it's Scorpio." And was it the
Well, here's what
other
he
guy?
you asked
Scorpio
him.
and Sub-Zero.
Yeah, he said Scorpio and Sub-Zero and they're brothers, and
Yeah.
then you asked him, well, if Scorpion's your favorite, do you have a main character? And he said, no, Liu Kang is the main character, and so he's my hero because he knows what's up.
That's he knows the shit. He knows the
Nice,
shit.
nice.
Who are you guys talking about?
Our Uber driver last night.
Oh, okay.
Just a random guy. We gave him a good review because he was good for the conversation. But Scorpion, you
Yeah,
said you
so
wanted to
I
start.
want to talk about Scorpion because they finally did the rope dart spinning that I've been asking for years and years and years.
Yeah, they did all bleed shit. I saw that.
Yeah, it's not just that. They didn't just steal the spinning from Bleed. They stole the fact that when he does the regular spear, it doesn't pull you in for a stun. He pulls you past him and then hits you on the way past.
Yeah, I saw that. It looks sick.
That was all really interesting to me. And
Sound, the Get Over Here sound.
oh yeah,
they
it
changed
sounds
it.
like a new voice clip for Get Over Here. They're not reusing Ed from MK4 anymore.
It took a little while, but yeah.
And I'm really happy with his voice actor. If you guys remember from putting in, I was really bummed Patrick Seitz wasn't coming back, and there was that rumor it was going to be Kevin Conroy. And Batman just does not sound like Scorpion.
No.
But it sounds like they got like the voice he has in this game sounds like an Asian guy who's very similar to Patrick Seitz.
Got a Japanese
So-
accent.
Yeah, he has a Japanese
Maybe they
accent.
got a cheaper
Yeah.
sites.
they got a
I
more
like his voice. I
authentic
think his voice
Seitz.
sounds really cool.
It's been going around. MK11's Asians are much more Asian than usual.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Which is a good thing because
That's a
that's,
very
where
good
it
thing.
started. Yeah.
I am glad they kept Steve Blum for Sub-Zero, though.
So I'll jump in here. So Temp, your thoughts on Sub-Zero about his outfits feeling pieced together? I didn't really get that vibe from Scorpion as much.
No,
I
Scorpion
really like
feels more
Scorpion's.
cohesive.
His outfit, especially the one with the more classic mask.
Yeah.
I really like that
Love
outfit. It just looked really good. It still looks like motocross type stuff, but it screams classic, just modernized. So I appreciated it.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with Scorpion, and I never play Scorpion.
Same.
None of the games. I'm always a Sub-Zero guy. Sub-Zero's not my main, but it's like between the two, Sub is like easily top 3 favorite characters of all time. So I never play Scorpion.
Well,
and in this one, he was actually fun for me.
Yeah,
I agree.
like having a main in the 3D era is dumb, but I used to mostly play Scorpion in those games, and I didn't play him in 9 or X because he was like just not the way he felt in this demo. I think Scorpion's back on the menu.
Yeah, and so Scorpion.
Boys!
We got Scorpions on the menu.
Razor's playing the field of dicks for Scorpions. Covered in Scorpions.
So Scorpion was the first character I ever played when I picked up the demo, and I have to say so the first moves I pulled off were the teleport and the spear. And I'm like, okay, thank God that's consistent, because most of the inputs for the characters in this game are so like changed up, and that's a big pet peeve I have with every single game. They change up the inputs. But for the most part, Scorpion, the inputs for the teleport are consistent. The spear is consistent. Though
What
the
is the
biggest
spear
problem-
input, real quick?
Spear's back forward,
Back forward
one.
yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
And the teleport is obviously down back 3, which is they all stay consistent. And but the big problem I noticed, at least it's a problem for me, is I kind of like when you do the spear, at least in the variation that I played, the classic one, it's not a free hit. Like he does get another attack.
Well, I wonder if the pro move version would make it a
Like,
free
yeah.
hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
You have to
I think it
amplify
does.
Yeah. I don't know that I pulled off any EX moves the whole time.
I was trying. I couldn't get any off.
They're
Yeah.
challenging. They're not guaranteed. It is a window
You
to
need to
them.
learn a new one each time. Is the thing. Like,
Yeah.
Which I
You
think
meter burn it. Then
Well,
like
we
his
very
old
rarely
old-
pause to actually look at the moves.
Yeah.
We decided to just figure it out.
Just
Um,
go old school on it. Yeah.
I think that plays into, because remember there was that rumor or discussion from Shijinki Dink that basically it's going to be more links rather than dial combos.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where he was getting that feel from, because if you think about it, combos have been really scaled back in a sense of their, like, how crazy they can get. But if there are if there are certain enhanced moves that can launch them to continue that juggle, to get more of that juggle effect, those enhanced moves do feel a bit more like Link's, because it's not an easy thing to do those enhanced moves. You got to time it right, and you got to press the right button. It's not something you just dial in. So I think that might be where that was coming from, unless it was
But the
just
base
full of
combos,
shit.
though.
Yeah, no, the
base
strings
combos are not
are
right.
still pretty much the way they've been in 9 and X.
You can keep launching somebody into the air. I did that a couple times with Sonya, where you do that down back 3 grab, launch somebody into the air, and then you can launch into a jump kick and then keep the juggle going once they land. It was hard, but I did it a couple times.
Yeah, she needs nerfs though. OP. No, I'm just kidding.
A little early for that, don't you think?
No, I'm just, we need
This
your
demo needs a day 1
You
patch.
can't serve
exactly.
Ronda, come on.
Buff my bad matchup, buff my main, please.
Scorpion. Yeah, he's just fantastic. I love the increase, like you said, the use of the kunai and all that good stuff. I like that
Sweet Japanese accent.
he's got the old classic kunai at least. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And the fire really is from his design is everything. Just
the fire looks
fantastic.
beautiful.
One
The fire
thing
looks
I noticed that I like is his stance. He's always holding the spear. 9.
Yeah.
I like specifically, like, you can... There's a lot of, like, tiny little nuances and details in him specifically when he's, like, kind of wandering around. Like, you can hear the spear retract into, like, his palm.
Yeah.
When it comes back out. When he walks away after he wins a round, like, his skull kind of glows and fades in and out a little bit.
I love the
fire
effect whenever he uses the fire. Like, he doesn't have to peel the mask off. He
It
just
just
parts of him
shifts.
transform into a flaming skeleton and back.
Yeah.
And like he breathes fire.
The
it's
round
pretty cool.
animation, yeah, is
Dragon-
And
fantastic.
something I was, like, really
He's
happy
got
to
some
see,
really
like,
cool
in-
animations. Like a couple of his teleports don't look like his teleports have before. Like he like runs off the one side of the screen and he's on the other one.
Yeah, the shadow
Like doing this really cool.
Nude deconfirmed.
I'm watching him right now. He looks sick.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, Scorpion's got some cool stuff.
He definitely impressed me. Like I said, I'm not a Scorpion guy, but he kind of had that katana effect. Not that I didn't want to play Scorpion, but from MKX, where she just won me over from design and gameplay, top to bottom. I think he might have that for me this time around. He really just feels awesome.
Something I wanted to mention for Scorpion and Sub-Zero as well, in terms of costumes, where they actually have, like, where they were, like, doing, having the kind of equipment, garb get up, they find that shitty, like, rubber latex look at the X. They
Yeah.
look much better now.
Yep.
Smooth.
I think that's just because the textures are so much better in general.
Maybe,
Yeah.
They're still a little shiny, but they look really
But they're good shiny. Like, the shiny parts are shiny.
Yeah,
like,
there's
the
a-
gold
yeah.
on Scorpion is shiny. Yeah.
I mean, the designs and like the fabrics and stuff look really good. There's a costume we talk about on a different character that I thought just looked fantastic, but didn't look so good in X. But Randy, what are you guys' thoughts on Scorpion?
To me, he feels like he's very, very strong. His teleport punch in the context of this slower paced game is really strong. And you can enhance it and it'll juggle, and then you hit 4, and then you can link it in, you can link a spear after. So he's really strong. I feel like he is really awesome. He's really fast, and he hits hard too. He's really, really good.
I thought mostly the same thing I said before, but Scorpion was the one character that I noticed animation improvements. Scorpion has some fantastic animation. And again, I'm just going to be going through as much capture footage as I can the next few days, but his animation was the first one, and the one that's really stuck out the most is like, man, this is a different setup they're using, and they're caring a lot about little things in the animation, which is good.
Yeah, no more
I'm not surprised
crazy.
that Scorpion is the guy that's showing that because he's Scorpion, but yeah, he looks good.
Yeah, no more crazy all over the place stance in X where he's like moving his entire body for some reason, or I guess his torso, but not his legs.
Yeah, I hate going against Scorpion in X just because he was annoying to look at me. I was just like, what is this weird little thing?
Get off him.
Shiva! Mega Shiva!
Get the fuck
I also
away from
really
me.
doesn't have. I didn't see it anywhere. The 2 swords on his back, like he's had in MKX and he had it in MK9 too. Like
No,
I didn't see any swords on his back.
They're on the hip.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah, they're on his hip now. I like that a lot better.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's much cooler looking. Temp, what are your thoughts on Scorpion? You recently learned Scorpion in X. How are you?
Yeah, as far as appearance, I don't have much to say. He looks good. I've been fairly happy with Scorpion pretty much. It's at least one costume or another in most his recent versions, but I did recently learn Hellfire, and I think that's actually one of the best variations of Elemental with like pretty much the whole shebang. You want pressure, he's got it. You want mix-ups, he has it. Do you want like a good anti-air? He probably has the best anti-air in the game. So the way I could not tell how footage. I just couldn't. The fact is that he's probably stylistically the character. Stylistically, I'm kind of the most protective of him because stylistically he was the most consistent from MK9 and MK10. Really, he's kind of people who play. It's like he's kind of like Reptile, but for smart people. Like with Reptile, you're just kind of an idiot. You just kind of do whatever, right? But with Scorpion, it's like okay, at least at first you have to play the fundamentals game. You have to wait. You have to anti-air. You have to block. If you pressure, you got to pressure intelligently. You can't just throw stuff out. But once you get that knockdown, once you get frame advantage, that's when Scorpion goes into Andrew WK mode and he can kind of do whatever he wants. And like that's what you do. And the cool thing about Scorpion is if you're smart and you know your opponent, you can keep doing it. They either have to break or they die. Because once I get that combo, I end my combo with either a spear, I do a cross-up punching combo into teleport, and when I hit that teleport, I'm at frame advantage. You have to guess again. In theory, you might be able to armor out, but I'm very protective of that style. And is that in 11? I could not tell because it's such a different game. Because I compare this game to Street Fighter 4 so much. What happens when you put that style into Street Fighter 4? I don't know. So I'm open to possibilities, but I would be really happy if I could play that way again with Scorpion. But like I said, if getting rid of that style means no more NKX shenanigans, then I'm willing to sacrifice that on the altar as well.
Yeah, no, good, because I think I don't know. Like I said, I'd just be reiterating what I already said, but I agree. Any other thoughts on Scorpion?
No, not really.
It looked good.
Yeah,
it was good.
Solid.
Pretty good.
Thumbs up all around.
I really love the fatality where he like hits him with the spear, makes it red hot, and then jumps over them, then goes through the floor.
It's
so
a very
all the way
creative
around.
fatality. Yeah.
Slices through them and yeah.
That is my
That's
reveal so far.
one of the raddest finishers we've seen.
But you're not going to get any ropes for the spear, though.
Yeah, it means that it has to be a chain because you make a rope red hot, it snaps.
Sorry, Smoke Man.
So, moving on from Scorpion, so we've got left
Geras?
Baraka, Raiden, and let's go Geras.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I was excited to try out Geras more because I liked his moves, and he has that little recoil like tracer from Overwatch. I don't know how exactly it functions. I never managed to pull it off. But I think my all-time favorite move from him is the freeze time one. It only works close range. So when you do it, I think we saw in his trailer, he did it to Sub-Zero, and he like caught him midair, and he was just like beating the shit out of his crotch or something.
Yeah, it gives you some free hits, and then when you're done and the time stop wears off, all that damage at once. So if you like hit him with two uppercuts, it's 25% right there.
Yeah.
That's a weird move because it costs a meter.
Get Tremor out of there.
Actually, the exact thought I had though about Geras is that he's basically Jackson Trimmer.
But better than both.
Get
And
fucked.
infinitely more interesting.
Yeah, get fucked, Tremor.
Yeah, I like Geras a lot. What were you saying, Randy, though?
I was just saying that freeze time move is very odd, and it's because it costs a meter no matter what. Like there's no non-meter version.
Interesting.
I mean, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's...
And his normals felt a lot like Bane to me. He felt very Bane-like.
Yeah, he's got that running command grab.
He didn't really... Like he had a grab, but it wasn't really as good as Bane's grab. But his normals felt a lot like Bane.
I liked his grab a lot. He also has his not his neutral jump punch because obviously that doesn't exist, but his normal jump punch is an elbow drop. Like he just jumps up and does like an elbow drop. It's funny.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, in midair.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, yeah, the character.
Paint me like one of your French girls.
Some really good corner stuff. Low overhead string. So the first hit is low, and then I think the second hit is mid, and then the last hit is overhead. Maybe I'm can't for the last hit and sand trap, which is like this move that kind of goes under them and kind of captures them, and then these big sand hammers come and it like slams him. So he feels like he's really, really good and has some dirty stuff.
No pun intended for the sand.
I think the most interesting thing about Geras is like just because he's a new character, does story potential. Like one of the weird things, he's got the Blue Blood Cyber Sub had.
Yeah. I think it's Jinsei, man. I'm sticking with it. I think that's Jinsei blood.
There's a lot of his like intros. It sounds like he's like immortal, like he can't die, and he works for Kronika. He may have been created by her blaze, but sand.
He's pretty much loyal to her. What he says to Raiden in one of the dialogues is, Raiden's like, "I must free you from Kronika," and Geras replies, like, "You would deprive me of my destiny," and Raiden replies back, "I would instead allow you to forge your own." So he's kind of like some sort of created construct / golem figure.
Yeah. He's linear
He's
time.
artificial.
That's what he is. He's held back by linear time. We're getting conceptual in MK now.
Oh man, the weed, man.
Yeah, he's
I
like,
love.
Yeah, it's legal.
I love
Right?
his super where like he knocks them into the air and then reverses time so they come back down.
Yeah.
And then he hits them a bunch of times while it stopped once.
Smacks them on top of the head. You could just see their head like squish into their body.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. I love it.
We stumbled on his brutality. He creates a wall behind you, and that same exact thing, he takes his Draman fist and just bangs your head down into your shoulders.
That's another thing. I love his gauntlets. Like, it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I like the default one with the giant gold fist.
Interesting character for sure, and yeah, I think you're right. He's got some grappler elements. He's a bit slower, heavy hitter type of character.
He's scary to fight against. Like, when you're running in on him, you feel like you're always going to run into one of his little traps.
Yes.
Whether it be the time stopping or the Sandman, like, there's always something coming after you that doesn't look like it's going to get you.
Which
But,
is weird because he's a grappler with traps, so it's really strange. You don't feel safe. You never feel safe around what he's doing.
I don't really know how to fight.
He also has a move which manipulates the round clock. He has a move where he can take time off of the round clock or add time to the round clock. But I think you can only use it once per round, which I don't really see it being like used much, but it's still cool.
That's awesome because if he has a
that's potentially very handy in a close match.
That's something we had.
where he's just leading slightly.
Yeah.
15 seconds towards the end of the round.
You just pull that away if you have the life lead. We had mentioned somebody. I don't remember who mentioned that, but for Kronika, that would have been a cool effect to be able to have her manipulate the round clock because you never think of
fourth wall.
Yeah, exactly. You pull time away from your opponent to come back. I think that's.
You said that.
It might have been. I don't want to take credit.
We were speculating different things because we were talking about like the Geras having time moves makes you wonder what Kronika could have that he doesn't already.
I think Kronika might be more clear powers. Geras also has the sand thing going on with him, and I really appreciate that because I think we all were like really worried about Geras and what kind of character he might be, and as someone who didn't want new characters in this game, I think after seeing him, I'm really happy how they handled the whole like sand type character and like he plays unique, and I can't believe I actually found myself playing him when so I think he's done really well, and I mean it's not just his abilities are not just time based. There's always that little like flavor they add with them.
I'm worried about Geras and Kronika being too similar. They look really similar.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of how they could play different, but
I'm really excited for Kronika and what she can do.
Sure.
And as soon as they revealed what Geras is doing, I'm like, okay.
So
a lot of those were ideas I had for her, other than the sand. So I'm like, where do they go? Unique and different and interesting.
Well, another thing we've been discussing about Kronika between ourselves is that Ed confirmed she's the boss.
Right.
So it's a question of whether she'll be playable like Shinnok or whether she'll be more like Shao Kahn in 9.
Yeah. I'd be fine if she wasn't playable. I still like the character.
I kind of hope she's not.
I agree.
Yeah. Too many other characters
I
we
want
need in
to
this
play
game.
her.
Man.
I like that design.
I don't like playable bosses.
I think it's
don't.
kind of
I'm with
probably
you.
be some
I'm
sort of
with
like
you.
Shinnok / enhanced Shinnok situation. You know?
Maybe.
Just not cut and dried.
I really like the character and the concept of her, so I wanted her playable, but I guess we'll just have to see. We could have talked about this with sub, but there's also the factor of where does this leave Frost. But let's circle back to that when we get to the roster as a whole. From where do we go from here? So that's Geras. So let's move on. So we've got Raiden and Baraka. Let's hit Raiden and then we'll hit Baraka last. So Raiden, I'll start this off. Raiden is absolutely fun. He's one of the
very fun.
From design to gameplay wise, he's one of my favorites so far in the demo. And he was the one that I mentioned that I thought his classic costume, like with the blue lightning and the white garb and everything that he has, it's like a take on his classic outfit from MK1 and MK2. I thought that was way better done than MKX did. Like it fit him more. It wasn't just like this blanket that he was covered in. It wasn't pajamas Raiden.
It was more like the MKX one is a direct translation of what Carlos was wearing, which always did look like pajamas.
Right.
Whereas this feels more like they, used the graphics they have to make it fancy.
They adapted it's more realistic
and
in
like
a way.
Just to be really fair about it, when the pajamas first showed up in MKX, they were pretty hype. It's just that these make those look a little bit obsolete.
I will also.
I'm more partial to the MK2 tunic Raiden. I missed that a bunch.
Well, actually, Raiden, I said Scorpion was like, I forget who I said was the only guy who had 3 costumes. I think Raiden had 3 costumes.
I feel like we haven't seen like half.
Sub-Zero was, Raiden also had 3 costumes, so I was wrong before.
Baraka too.
Baraka had 3?
Had 3.
Okay, so a couple characters had 3, and a couple just had 2 in a palette swap. But yeah, Raiden, he had the Dark Raiden one, and he had one that sort of had like a blue vest.
It was like a take on classic Raiden. Like it was like a long, like flowing, almost kind of like I wouldn't say a trench coat because it didn't have a sleeve, but it was like a long flowing blue robe.
Yeah, and then the third was the more plain white MK1-ish one. And one detail is that all of them wear a medallion, but it's a different medallion on every costume. Because, like, the MK1-ish one, I thought it was funny that it had the MK9 medallion, because the medallion was missing in that flashback in MKX.
Oh, we forgot to put it in. Let's just put it in now.
Yeah.
The man... just his gameplay was fantastic. Like I said, he was one of my favorites to play. His teleport, everything about him, I liked his lows. Like, it was back 3 or back 4. He had very low arcing lows that I thought were awesome that you could follow up with like a special move real quickly. So I thought that was really cool. He seemed like a fun poke, neutral zone type of character. I really dug Raiden so far.
If he used the staff in normals and
I remember it was mostly he has a special with his staff. I think
like poke or whatever.
Yeah, it's like 3 stabs.
His finishing blow used it too.
Yeah, like it's in like his super
and.
and.
I think that's just like.
He just kind of summons it.
He has in one of his variations. He has a move where he plants the staff and then can summon lightning to it like a trap.
And it looks like his classic wooden staff when he throws it down.
Yeah, in that variation, he had the plain wooden no frills, just a pole.
It's just a pole,
which I really liked. Of all the characters, and I did play all of the characters. I didn't get to try every variation they gave us, but the top 3 I had with were Scorpion, Raiden, and we'll get to him eventually, but Baraka, which was weird for me because I'm not a Baraka guy.
Baraka, man,
Other thoughts on Raiden? What are you guys thinking?
Well, I have one huge problem with him. Actually.
Sure,
Go ahead.
I mean, I did like the lightning strike move that he had. There was one where it would go
It brings it down to like their feet at an arc. And
it's also a good anti-air move.
I was just about to bring that. I don't like that his lightning comes from above. That's Rain's move. That's not
Rain's
Rain's
move. Well, here's the thing.
I don't like that.
He's the god of thunder. He should be able to call it from wherever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, but he never does
Rain is
that.
the ghetto version of Raiden.
No, hold on. I want to actually briefly mention on that topic, since like we have like lightning coming from up above, which is kind of a Rain trademark. I also saw Scorpion at one point, like kind of like doing a fireball toss towards the ground, and it was basically like exactly like Smoke's
smoke
bomb.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if like there might not be isolated cases where they're reusing specification. And I know that, yes, that's probably just like the smoke hopeful in me talking, but, you know.
See, if that's the case, I'm okay with it. What I don't want is them going like, oh, thanks for that lightning from above move, Rain, now fuck off forever.
Well, no,
like,
he always does it diagonal, though.
Same boat, to a
Yeah,
degree.
his is different, though. Nightwolf's is more like it looks like he's summoning it using magic rather than elemental powers, like he's using spirit magic. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
a
a
graphical thing.
The
but-
simple fix is Raiden's is at like a 40 degree
always-
angle.
it's always
you just
angled,
do Raiden's
yeah.
at a 25-degree angle.
It's more 90.
Straight down.
Yeah.
So, like, another standard teleport up-down, or down-up, he doesn't go where you think he's gonna go. He appears above where he was, and you're floating like Sindel for a bit, and you can do, like, down lightning or straight lightning.
I think that's a variation.
It's a variation.
Because the one I was playing, it was just the regular one.
Teleport, yeah.
I also played one where he didn't have the teleport, so...
Interesting.
You're playing the dumb one.
Yeah. Well, I tried all three.
You were playing MKX, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Raiden, really, I liked his outfits. I liked his gameplay. I think he is definitely one of those stars of the show, for sure. I'm very satisfied. He's in the Scorpion camp. I do like playing Raiden in the older games, but he's very tempting to play in this game, at least learn, because he's a lot of fun.
So...
He had a little bit of dialogue with Sub-Zero that I particularly enjoyed in one of their intros, where Sub-Zero was asking him like whether or not he served the Elder Gods or he served humanity, and Raiden said, "I aim to do both," and Sub just said, "No man or god can serve two masters," and it was it's like really nice throwback into his face.
Yeah.
It was good.
I like that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say, because we had a comment about how I talk shit about Raiden all the time, and I think he's a boring character and kind of want him to die in this game, it was never the gameplay that was the problem.
It was the character, the
I just
story.
think the character is on a story arc where he needs to die at the end because he's a bad guy now.
Yeah.
Some of the dialogue still has him seem like he's just kind of out to do what he thinks is best. He's not objectively like...
Yeah, and
they're gonna
just
try
kind
an
of, like-
anti-hero angle here, I can tell.
Yeah,
They're
that's
gonna
the other
try
thing.
it.
The thing that I always dislike about Raiden in the NRS games is when it's white Raiden. It's when he's such a boring exposition guy, and I want Christopher Lambert basically.
Oh yeah, don't.
But Dark Raiden swerves around that problem by having his own personality.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. No, I don't think we're ever gonna get Christopher Lambert. I didn't believe that on the bus today, and they were like, "We're trying to distance ourselves from the movie." Yeah, maybe you guys didn't hear that. He said that in the front. Yeah, and I was just like,
Weird.
"What? Why?" The movie's awesome.
I actually heard that too. That was
from the movie, though.
Yeah.
Like Kano.
Yeah, like Kano is
I think
because
that, like,
yeah.
I think that's kind of a reaction against a lot of how X was perceived as being a bit too dark and brown, and because the movie references and like influences there were pretty overt. Like, I mean, Goro, you know, come on. So I think that this time they wanted to like give us back a little bit more color.
Sure.
And to be fair, Ed has always said that like he likes the movie, but he thought Raiden making him a more comedic character was weird because that's just not how Raiden is in his head.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I just find that more interesting in a mentor, where it's like a guy who just blandly tells you things is not as good a teacher as a guy who makes you figure it out yourself by like teasing and prodding you, like Yoda in Empire Strikes Back was always the example I use.
Well, it's especially more interesting in a deity. When you have a
Yeah,
deity
like-
who is just like messing with you, who's teaching you by being human.
Yeah, like I like it when Raiden acts more like the people he's supposed to protect. Like he's
Absolutely,
more
yeah.
one of them. Like the reason the Protector and the other element gods from mythologies weren't given the job is because he likes humans more.
Yeah. He's the most humanist of the gods.
Yeah,
Yes.
but he always acts stiff in the games, and
Stiff is an understatement. He acts like a statue that somehow learned to manifest.
He's a little
vocalization.
but again, when Dark Raiden is the focus, you don't have that problem.
No.
Getting back to Mortal Kombat 11. Not repeating the same things we've talked about. Temp, Django, I realize I don't think you guys even chimed in on Geras. So what are your guys' thoughts on Geras? And then what are your guys' thoughts on Raiden? And Randy included.
Randy, did you want to go?
Yeah, right. I didn't really play as Raiden. I think I played like a match, and I think that he looks great, and I really liked him in the story mode trailer that they showed. I really think that the story mode acting, voice acting, the facial capture, the dialogue, the pacing was really, really great, and it makes me want to see more. And that's all I really got on Raiden.
Okay. Well, I guess starting with Geras, because I really, honestly, do not have anything not much really to say about Raiden, but Geras is. If it turns out Kronika is not playable, then Geras is really underwhelming because time is a very big theme to me. One of the reasons why I went into philosophy, because I was very, very fascinated by time. So I've wanted a time character for some time now, and God, they gave him to us, and like half his special moves involve earth powers. I'm like, what's going on? Like, there was so much potential here. Like for command throw, you could have like lifted him up in the air, aged the opponent 30 years, then aged him 30 years back and slam him on the ground. That would have been sick. I love the clock manipulation, but why stop there? You know, like freezes, like full screen freezes, or like slowing down frames, like stuff like that would have been really cool. And he throws sand at people. So I don't. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know. To me, it feels like a bait and switch almost. Just like if I play a new fighting game, I'm like, who do I want to play? Well, I want to play the fire character. Okay, well I picked the fire character. Moves involved like a cheese grater or some shit like that, and that's just not really what I was looking for. I feel like it's kind of a betrayal of the theme. So I don't know if Kronika is not. I think Kronika is playable, by the way. As a matter of fact, I'm 99% sure she's playable.
Yeah,
but if she's not, then this is disappointing.
I don't know that NRS is doing non-playable bosses just anymore in general. Especially because we're in an age where we get like Goro and Shao Kahn as DLC or pre-order. And like Brainiac and Injustice 2. I think their general practice now is just to put everything on the roster, and then the boss version has more moves.
They turn the
Brainiac had that like stupid giant tentacle shit.
Yeah, all of Boss Brainiac's things were controlling the stage, basically. Yeah.
But go on, Tim. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I wanted way more of a time character, but maybe Kronika will be that, or maybe Kronika will be the cosmic deity. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to go too much in the Injustice 2 side. Stuff like this Injustice 2. I think they want a more traditional fighting game this time. I don't think they want the shenanigans. As for Raiden, I just miss a lot of the Thunder God electricity. I miss the lightning effects of Thunder God. I thought that looked so good in MKX, and it looks like a lot of that is gone. That's really all I have to say about Raiden. I wasn't able to gather anything from his gameplay. Django, how about you, man?
Geras didn't do anything for me. To me, Geras doesn't look like a Mortal Kombat character. Like, he looks like a Soul Calibur or something like that, and I was really wishing that he did look more MK. I thought that they did a better job with that MKX. Like, to me, Kotal felt like he looked like he fit.
I mean,
but Geras really just looks really generic to me.
For sure.
And I saw his other version, like he had a mask and stuff, looked like Iron type helmet on and stuff like that. But it still it doesn't feel Mortal Kombat to me at all. It doesn't fit well. And his gameplay was also like, oh, there's a little bit of trimmer going here, and hey, there's a little bit of that guy in there. It wasn't that interesting either to me. More interesting. I like Raiden's 2 classic looks better. I really like how tall Raiden is. I think that was really fun. I also liked that. I don't know how it works in gameplay, obviously, but watching a bunch of the footage from over like at the London stream and also the one that you guys went to and putting stuff. There's a lot of like little Nightwing pokes with his staff that I'm seeing. He's got a couple, and like I said, I don't know how you use them or what. They're probably like a longer animation or super. But it is fun. It is fun and interesting seeing Raiden do some of Nightwing's pokes. But that's about it.
It's mentioned, or it's funny that you mentioned that Raiden's taller. I don't think we mentioned it, but Skarlet's pretty damn tall. Like, she's like actually one of the in the game. Did you guys notice that at all?
I didn't really actually.
I didn't notice anybody was short like MKX Katana.
She was like a good foot taller than whoever I was using her against, like Sub-Zero or something. Like, she was like legitimately.
I think she was
over
in heels.
people. It might have been the heels, but yeah, she was tall.
She also, I think, has like Scorpion and Sub-Zero hunch more in their stances.
Maybe. I just noticed, like, first impression I had on her was like, wow, she's towers over the other character. But anyways, thought I'd mention that. See if we can get a screenshot or video that kind of shows that off. But okay, so let's move on to. Or did you guys? Anybody else? I think most people chimed in.
Yeah, I think we're ready to.
Raiden's just a really fast, can be a lot of fun character.
Yeah, I know he's fast, he's fun, great design. So that leaves just Baraka left.
Oh yeah,
so,
surprise.
okay, so the reason is honestly this was my favorite character in the game. Like legitimately.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was your big announcement?
No. It's fun. Like I found myself. I tried everybody multiple times, but I'm like, I kind of just want to go back to Baraka. Like he's for the first time. I mean, he's been throughout the series a savage, right?
Yeah.
They made like they went.
He looks like he smells like a guy
Yes.
that hangs out in the wasteland.
Yeah, he's up. They dialed him up to 11. He's complete savage. His design is exactly what I wanted from Baraka. I loved all his looks. The variation, that weird mask that he has in one. I think it's weird, but it's like Mad Max
This
style.
kind of halfway Hannibal Lecter thing.
Yeah. And then
and like his actual like. People have been going back and forth of like his blades are made of bone or whatnot.
Yeah, that's gear. It can be bone blades or metal blades.
And one of the colors for the blades is literally gold. So that's pretty interesting.
I thought it was weird though that his blades can break off.
Yeah.
And then they regenerate.
Well, he's got like marrow powers now from the X-Men.
Yeah, he can like shoot now. He can the reason why I like his gameplay so much is he's got like the jumping on you and then it'll bring you to the ground and stabby. I like the he lifts you up. I like the charging knee, like the Sagat knee, where and then he follows it up with a kick. Like
he does so much biting now too.
Yes, he's just brutal. Like out of every character, he makes me like the most like it just feels so visceral and like you really feel like what he's doing. And like even his fatal blow where he just stabs through your hand into your chest.
Yeah, goes through the chest.
And it breaks it off.
It's just awesome, and he tears off your face in his fatality. It's just like this
and
guy.
And then he tears off more of your face.
Yes, he just like
I
continually.
He's gonna put the face on himself.
Like Shinnok style. Yeah.
It made Baraka scary again for sure.
Don't know if that middle step to the fatality was necessary.
Yeah.
Went on a little bit long, but still really.
Brain. I mean, like.
Yeah, when you do that against Geras, then you're eating the blue waffle.
Yeah, the blue waffle. But I'm telling you, man, it was a lot of fun to play, and I love the variation look with all like the red paint on them or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
I think those were scars.
I don't
like,
care. It looked
they looked
badass.
really interesting though. Yeah.
Also, I never figured out how the banner thing works. Like I tried.
It creates an interactable.
Yeah, the flag. Yeah, interesting. That one was the one that I couldn't really quite figure out how that worked.
I mean,
but
what? Yeah.
I liked his variation with just the addition, like I said, the tackle one where he dives on you, tackles you to the ground. He was just so much fun.
He's literally an animal, and he's just intimidating. His look, and he's.
Yeah, and maybe that's why I like him so much. Cause I like.
He can just corner you, man, and you're just screwed.
He hits hard too.
Yeah.
He hits hard in this one.
Oh man,
I mean,
just a lot.
To fight against.
MK2 jump kick back. With
Yeah, he does the drop kick.
Extended.
Oh yeah.
That weird hitbox it has too. Like,
Yeah.
getting hit by
That
that.
pain. It was always a pain in the ass to hit out of the air.
And
And
he's
like it will be again.
He's one of the few characters who has like a 1-1 startup string. Like, so he's very newbie friendly, very and like my favorite new move is that thing where he like shoots the bone spikes out of his shoulders.
Yeah, right on
that like porcupine attack in all directions.
Man. This guy is just he stole the show for me from like especially not so. I mean, Skarlet stole the surprise factor, the hype factor, and the like the visual like in the trailer. Like she just won me over, but like. Baraka, from a gameplay perspective, just getting my hands on him, I'm like, this is Mortal Kombat 11. This is Baraka like he's never been. And he just feels, in a way, he feels like the same old Baraka we had, but completely fresh at the same time. It's a nice balance of new and old, familiar, fresh. That character is so much fun.
Definitely helps when his default design is like a
Similar to
more
MK2.
more detailed version of MK2 and
Yeah. And this is a prime.
his teeth look like they're kind of like bleeding around the gums a little
Yeah.
bit.
Like they're never really settled in there.
And this is a prime example of a character sitting out for one game that kind of needed it. He was in he was in about 4 games in a row as well. So sitting out from X, like bringing him back in 11 with a fresh new design and a new take on his gameplay and this new game with a new meta, like I think he's benefiting. I think this is a new lease on life for Baraka. I think he is really badass.
Well, it gave them time to redesign him from the ground up.
Yes.
He played he plays classic, but like new, like he's designed for this game.
It feels like a labor of love. Like they're like, how do we make Baraka fresh again?
Yeah, it's like they could feel he'd gone stale and they needed to really do something
Let's
new
go back
with
to
him.
the drawing board on this. Yeah.
Survive Combatants has a point. Like the voice had kind of a reptilian lilt to it.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the snake
I
eyes.
don't know,
He had the snake eyes going on.
Well,
too.
he sometimes has eyes that look like
Shut up,
that.
snake
They're
eyes.
his eyes kind of change in every game.
They did. Well, originally
I
they
miss
were
the
just
black
great white
bits.
sharp black.
Yeah, I miss
Yeah.
like those black beady soulless eyes.
Agreed.
But I like.
But yeah,
Maybe
like
that'll be
his
gear.
voice,
They
his
got rid of
voice
his
didn't.
MKX extra teeth too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Cheek
the
teeth.
coming out of his cheekbones. Yeah.
his cheek teeth.
I will say, like the voice wise, it sounded very similar to 9 and X to me. It didn't sound like too different or too much like Reptile or anything like that.
I mean, him and Reptile has more of the slithery. Baraka's more like
It's like
slobbering everywhere.
Bobcat Goldthwait.
passing
Yeah.
similarities.
He reminds me of an Urukai in this one. That's what I keep going back to. He seems like he's from Mordor, which is also a wasteland, so makes sense. Especially
Yeah.
with that helmet he's got on.
And with the flag as a thing,
cool.
it feels like
Saruman.
they're like more flavor out in a race and not just.
Which it needs. You've always.
Yeah, that's always been my problem with
backer of
Baraka
that, yeah.
is the face all looks like the same guy.
He just has a lot of personality here, like in his own way,
Yeah.
and he feels like the nomad that they always wanted him to be. Like to me, this is the Baraka that they always imagined.
Yeah, he feel.
that they couldn't like. I liked the character for a long time, but it's like he always felt like 90% to where he could be as a concept, and now I think this is the definitive Baraka.
Yeah, like you get the sense of Berserker, but you also get the sense of Chieftain.
Yes,
Definitely.
yes.
Especially in one of his opening intros, where people thought that was gonna be Chameleon for that little lizard on the
Yeah.
rock.
Yeah.
It was literally Baraka. His opening intro, he comes in, stabs the lizard, then just eats it.
You can only
Amazing.
imagine what the intro if Reptile's in the game, what their interactions.
Yeah,
are
he's
like
like
that.
he's just shocked and appalled. It's like Men in Black where they keep stepping on the cockroaches with a big. Yeah.
You piece of shit. Yeah.
So
But I do want to talk about this though, since Baraka was obviously killed in MKX.
Right.
Right. So was Melina. So that's kind of the big element.
Then who else?
Melina.
Well, this is where timelines, this could be old Baraka brought to the new timeline to interact, and that's kind of the magic of this game is no character's death. Like if your favorite character died in a big mass Sindel killed everybody type of thing, there's a chance night or something like that where they're no longer nothing's off the table. Smoke can come back, and I think that's the beauty of this.
Death really doesn't matter now. It never did.
I mean, it
but now
never really
doesn't.
does.
Yeah.
I think for some characters,
Well, in
it
real
still-
life, it fucking does.
Yeah, I know, but I
But
think
you
for
feel
some
Kenny.
characters it still does. Like I still think Quan Chi is definitely.
Well,
out.
I think Quan Chi's not coming back just because, like, they got rid of him because they're done using him in the story. Like, he
Yeah.
kind of takes over whenever he shows up, and it's time to talk about other people right now.
His action figure, and she's just watching Razor play with his action figure. Like,
I mean,
please be gentle.
I've
Like
never-
his eyes said the whole
No,
story.
no, you know what? I'll admit it's very adorable. I'm gonna let him enjoy
I was
himself.
talking about a man who manipulates Bihan while he actually physically Bihan.
Okay, so
I've never actually had one of these collectible figures, and it's so posable.
Thoughts on Baraka?
Amazing.
What do you guys go, Randy? What do you guys think?
I got to play around with him, and I really like his chop. That you can meter burn it twice, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that he has a swipe back from MK2. I think it's forward 2 for his swipe. That was a nice touch. He looks amazing. He has a half screen overhead, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is back 2, I think, is what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, and then his forward force, I think it's forward 4-4, something like that. It's a really fast, really good strength too.
Yeah, that's his charging knee that is with a kick if you press 4 again.
Yes. Yeah. The only thing I didn't like, I felt like his walk speed was so slow, and I couldn't get used to it. And his dashes, he felt just moving around. So I started using his forward 4-4 to kind of dash.
Right.
You know, kind of get in, and he was interesting. I don't think he's a character that I would really play, but they really did. I'm really happy to see him back.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. I used his specials and his forward 4-4 as his mobility, my option to get in quicker and apply pressure, just to not, or I would occasionally jump. But yeah, I didn't really charge in much with him because he's a little bit slower. Temp, Django, what are your thoughts on Baraka from what you saw?
I thought it was surprising, like everyone did. Baraka's swole. He's been lifting.
Weird.
And
he's buff.
I was trying to think, like, do I like this more than like the MK2 Baraka, where he's much thinner and all that stuff? And
The actor, to be fair.
yeah. It's different, but I like it. And he was another one that was really fun to watch, and he's another one that's got interesting animation stuff going on.
Yeah.
He was another really fun one to watch as far as animation goes, because it's all in the movement. Like, there's not that much within like projectiles and stuff like that. He's got his spark.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy. Not everyone.
Benev's not happy.
I thought it looked good.
Fun, yeah.
It's orange now. The X-Men character stuff with the little spines on him. What does that character say? I keep forgetting it. Yeah, that one. That looks cool on him. The banner idea is such a interesting idea. Like, yeah, I can see, like, and I've watched videos like messing with it in the customization menu and stuff like that. That's just one of those things that I never in a billion years would have thought, like, oh, that's a thing that you can do with this, and you use it on play and stuff. It's just an interesting accessory to him, and it does help feed back into character and a little bit of, you know, Tarkatan culture, which wasn't a thing that we've ever really had that. I think I came to the conclusion that, like, it's cool. He looks cool, and everyone who's played him says that he's really fun to play. I kind of thought it would be cool if it wasn't Baraka, if it was another Tarkatan, especially because he does seem so much bigger, and Baraka was dead, and all this other stuff. But, you know, he looks like a lot of fun. I might even touch him. We'll see. Man, that beta is coming up really soon too. What was that? March 28th?
No, yeah.
March 28th.
Yeah, that's good. That's gonna be really fun. Yeah, but Baraka looks good and moves is good.
Temp?
Yes, I'm pretty happy with Baraka's inclusion, because once I realized kind of what meta this game is aiming for, I'm thinking Baraka's really going to shine in this time.
Fits Baraka really well, I think.
He's going to be fun, dude. Like, I don't think MK9 was a good fit for Baraka at all.
No.
Blades and everyone is just fucking bodying him with jumping.
Hey, look at these guys.
Like, Baraka in like a Street Fighter 4 Super Turbo kind of setting, I think is very smart and is going to be really rewarding. And also, I love that flag so much.
Yeah.
Anyone who knows my sense of humor knows I probably giggled my ass off when I saw that flag. So, oh god, not only is the animation great, but you can kind of use it as interactable, but I wish they would take that a step further. So what he could do is if he plants the, he could have the, did you know I have a flag variation? He can plant the flag, and then basically it doesn't do anything for 10 seconds. You can, but if you don't knock over that flag, then what happens is an unblockable cinematic happens and one of his henchmen attacks you. That's what I would like them to do. So what happens is you play this defensive style. So he plants his flag. It's like, all right, jump at me, dash at me. I'm gonna fucking play footsies with you. I'm gonna do pokes. I am going to, do just dumb stuff, but you're not going to get this flag. And if you don't knock it down in 15 seconds with either a normal or a special, you're going to get an unblockable.
I just want to see smug Baraka planting this flag like there's nothing you can do about it.
I want to see him plant the flag and Hotaro grows out of it.
The flag actually confused the crap out of me the first time it happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, because I think I saw it for the first time on the courtyard stage, so I thought it was like part of the background. And so suddenly I get hit with this thing. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. Stage interactable. I didn't see last time. I'll make a note. How did they use it twice?
Yeah.
What's happening? This isn't how meter works. No.
Where does Baraka keep getting these flags?
It was really disorienting the first time it happened.
Does look like he's pulling it out of his ass. Yeah.
I really do want to defend your flag variation. I think there's some real potential there. And complaint about Baraka is that his skin is a little moist. I'd like to wipe him down a bit. Yeah.
Baraka moisturizing.
Well, it's in dry. So that's Baraka, and that's the roster. So this kind of leads into.
No, there's.
So we're gonna talk about the roster.
There's
here.
plenty we know to play as. Yeah.
So so here's the deal. First, to preface this, yes, there are other characters we know about in the game, but it does not change the fact that a lot of us were thinking 10 characters, 11 characters, 12 characters that we'd get to see gameplay of. We're in January. This game comes out in 3 months. Usually in January, we've seen footage of more of the roster by now. So we figured they held off for this long. Maybe they'd be just leading strong with 10 characters, 12 characters, whatever. We logically, there's only like until launch from this point. They couldn't, even if they showed a character every single week, I don't think they would finish the roster in time. So it's like, clearly there's a lot to show still, and I don't know how they're going to do that, especially because they're waiting 2 weeks to show off Cabal. So clearly they're not going to like jam-pack every single week a new character. So at the end of the day, we had 7 playable characters in this demo, and a potential roster of 25 characters that are currently on the select screen. So I'm just kind of in that, it's that kind of fear that I had going into this, where I was like, we're not going to get as many characters as I thought at this demo. And the characters we get, I don't think we're going to get a Fujin, I don't think we're getting Noob, I don't think we're getting Jade, I don't think we're getting Cyrax, Smoke, these characters that people really want to see back. And we didn't. We really didn't. Now, that's where I said earlier, thank God for Skarlet, thank God for Baraka, because had those other 2 slots been and Jackie or whatever, I mean, another character
even someone we like from X, like Aaron Black, would not have been.
Kenji, even if it was like somebody who, yay.
I just think we wanted to see the characters from Trilogy or the 3D era that we didn't get to see in X, and it would have been nice to get 1 or 2 more of those. So as happy as I am to see Skarlet on the roster to begin with, and as impressed and in love with the design of Baraka that I am, I'm still left feeling like, man, I wish we just got 1 or 2 of those characters that we really are hoping
I think it would have
for.
helped if we actually saw Cabal.
Yeah.
I mean, with Cabal there, it kind of softens. It kind of softens the wound, but we still didn't see him.
Maybe okay, he's not playable at the event, but here's a quick trailer of his gameplay. I don't know. I'm just still feeling like I'm worried now. Like, I'm legitimately worried because somebody's put up the roster basically. If you take all the characters we've seen in story that look playable, like your Katana, Liu, who we all know are going to make it anyways because they're just obvious for the story and leading from X. So you take that. That's 2 more characters. You have Shao Kahn as your pre-order DLC. You have Kung Lao potentially. You have
Katana, did you say?
Yeah, I said Katana.
Katana was confirmed.
Cassie was confirmed.
Cassie's in there.
Well, Shad kept a note
There's
on all the characters in, right?
Yeah. So we're up to like around 13.
Yeah.
Actually,
We're over half.
Yeah, so we're around over half. But then you add in like, where does Kodal, where does Aaron Black fit in on these?
Yeah.
Where does Takeda? Where does Kung Jin? Any of those newer characters in X as well?
Devora.
Where do all the other X characters that were in there, like Akenshi, where do they fit into all of this? So when you start filling up slots, let's say we're up to 20, maybe 21, and there's only 4 slots remaining, and you still have that laundry list of Noob Saibot, Jade, Fujin, Smoke, Cyror, Rain. Who else am I forgetting in there? Like, it's Frost.
Chameleon.
Frost is another one. Like, these characters, because they said they listen to fans, right? They said they listen to fans and the fan demand.
They're like,
Yeah.
people who decide what specifically.
And I'm not doubting that. I'm not doubting that. We don't have enough data to doubt that yet. But at the same time, I do believe there's reason for hesitation. I'm a little nervous that all of us wanting, in Shang Tsung, obviously another one that we didn't name there, all these
They're not all
characters,
making it.
no,
Yeah.
I don't even think half of them are making it, unless the character lock are not a lock.
Or maybe or if the roster's bigger.
25.
As far as ninjas are concerned, I think
It's
Noob
a well-made
Saibot is a safe pick.
It's,
I think
this is just them filling in spots.
Filling in,
Yeah.
most likely options.
And that is cool, assuming
See, I
they're
don't.
the lead on the
Rain,
roster.
no, I don't put Rain as like a guaranteed spot.
I don't know.
It's that Sonic Fox thing that
I still don't. I don't fully trust that. Or Jade. Yeah.
But I mean, let's say Kronika is playable. That's another spot. Are they going to be the only two new characters? You would think maybe we still get.
Yeah, I really
also
Rain is also in the UI, so I'd be really surprised if Rain wasn't playable.
Well, I assume Shao Kahn will add a box, not be one of the 25.
Yeah, to make it balanced.
And we can add more boxes, like you were saying. We can add more boxes. All I'm saying is I'm a little worried we're gonna get X2, where we get a couple of characters that we really wanted, but
it's not
it's
enough.
been 8 years. Let's be characters I just listed off, and if not longer for like a Fujin and a Frost. It's been 8 years. Gotten Smoke and Cyrax. I don't count Tri. All those characters that Shang Tsung, these characters that we want to see back. It's like if we're getting down to slim pickings, I'm a little worried that we're waiting another 4 years for these characters. And there's always DLC too, but.
But then there's only 6
I don't know.
DLC. So
Potentially, yes.
3 of those could be guests.
You've got like 3 of them are guests for sure.
Yeah.
Pennywise gets
All I'm
like-
saying, this game so far has blown me away, but my only concern is the roster right now, because this game, as much as I love it, the fact that I do love it so much just makes me want these characters in more, because I think, man, I want them to be a part of this awesome experience.
Also, that roster has 2 katanas. That's weird.
I think it's 1 katana and 1 jade.
1 jade,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Jade.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jade.
okay. They just recolored. Okay. So
I don't even
on a more positive note, in the demo, I noticed the roster character portraits are facing different directions. And
That's another. That
a
was
little bit of personality, but like,
yeah.
we've still got room for, I don't know, 10 to 12 showstoppers. I mean, that's not going to happen. But just saying.
I think. Well, okay. So we got to throw in Cabal
We
too.
know
So we
maybe
know
a little
Cabal,
bit.
right?
We
And
know
Cabal
he's
is
right there.
another one of those that is an awesome character inclusion
Sure.
that people have been waiting to see back for 8 years. So
Yeah.
that's another win. I include him with Baraka and Skarlet. It's just how many more are we getting? Like,
Did you include Cassie?
Yeah, I said Cassie. So
She's next to Kronika on this little.
This fan-made roster has her on there.
It is worth noting that the E3 select screens generally are indicative of the number of slots. I think MKX may have been the one exception.
I mean, we're three. I think unless they're trying to really mess with us and try to get us to basically under promise is what they could be doing.
I don't think so.
But
I don't think so. No.
how many times have we been burned by that where we're like, that's not the final select screen. There's going to be more on
Did
there.
They even said that in X, like, that's not the final select screen. It doesn't look like
I mean,
it. Yeah, it did.
Last time with X, we didn't think we were going to get 25
I
characters.
think they
We
added
thought we were going to get
boxes.
more, and we got
Shinnok,
25
and then
characters.
the question mark.
Yeah,
random select box.
they added
So that's
Shinnok and random select.
that's my only concern with this game, because gameplay wise, I've been convinced. Story wise, looks fantastic. Graphics, visual quality, everything from top to bottom about this game, for the most part, that means anything that's important, has won me over. But the roster is still that big factor that, for me, a great Mortal Kombat game has to have a great roster. And that's still the X factor here that I feel like coming out of this event, I needed to be made a believer. Just give us Fujin so we can stop bitching about him. Like, that's the
really what it
problem.
all comes to.
And that's the biggest problem coming out of here. I don't think I see Fujin coming into this game.
He doesn't look like he belongs.
He doesn't, like, up here at this design style
like,
and
oh,
think
look,
Fujin.
Fujin should be right
I just
there
don't.
above
I don't know.
Jade or whatever. No.
I kind of see it, but I know what you're saying. I just think there is no way that they're gonna miss out on Fujin.
We said that
We
with
say
X.
that all the time. I know, but this is the
game.
game.
I think they think Fujin and Jarek are the same character. I think they do. I think they're convinced they are in the same vein. Yeah.
I don't know,
shame.
man.
One would think in a game with Dark Raiden, Fujin would be a logical pick, but I sees Fujin as a character he likes.
So
I'm just gonna come out and say that, like, since we've seen a lot of stages that like revolve around Shang's Island, like there's that, There's the Nether ship. I feel pretty goddamn sure Shang's in the game.
Oh, no. Shang's in the game.
I would still say...
We've had absolutely no hint of that.
Okay.
We know Cabal's in the game, but we have absolutely no idea where he could pick up.
Right.
So I'm not going to throw away Fujin just yet. Because we've even seen, like, either the Sky Temple or, like, a Shaolin area where there's, like, dead monks lying around. There's plenty of room for Fujin to be here, so I'm not going to start complaining or being afraid about that just yet.
Neither am I.
If that's the case...
half the roster slots left. I mean, I can still see him.
If that's the case, then where does Takeda, Kung Jin, I guess to a lesser extent Jackie, Jax, Johnny Cage, Kenshi,
Well, I mean,
Ermac, Reptile, where do all these characters go? Because there is not enough cuts.
Down the shit.
So you think they're just going to basically core out and give us
Yeah,
a couple?
I maintain that MK11's roster will be the missing trilogy characters from X, like your Noob Saibot, your Shang Tsung's.
Well, those two I think are still fair game here, but
Noob Saibot and Shang are definitely in.
It's not happening.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm not counting Jade and Rain because they're the two that are the most iffy right now. This roster is about 85% MKX returnees.
Yeah, that's concerning.
But when they're not, it's the good picks. It's like with
Sure.
Skarlet,
Sure,
and Cabal. So
okay. So this might be spoiler territory. So this was that Shujinki Dink potential 5-character spoiler, even though he backtracked on it and said it was BS. But what remains? So if you don't want this, close your ears for about 5 minutes. But what remains about that is, who was the first character on that list? Cabal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Cabal now is the first character they announced. We could potentially, if that ends up being true, there's Lou, there's Jax, there's Noob, and who is the last one? Like Katana or something, maybe?
Last one was Shang.
That sounds right. Oh.
What was that?
Last one.
Shang. I mean, that's fair, but okay. So let's throw like a Jax and stuff. I mean, I have a hard time believing they're just gonna abandon a lot of those characters. So you think they're really gonna leave out like Ermac, Reptile?
I firmly believe they are leaving out
Kenshi,
Ermac and Reptile.
Johnny Cage.
Yeah.
You think?
Maybe not Johnny. I think he's gonna come back, and I don't think
Takeda.
I don't know, man. I don't know about the rest of the combat kids.
Kodal, Aaron Black.
I honestly think
potentially?
Cassie is the only one who's coming back, and Kodal and Aaron Black are the only ones for the Outworld side.
You know,
man,
I'm kind of suspecting that we'll get something in story where Chronica like erases the new characters, and that motivates Cassie and Sonya and those others to like bring them back.
So, my God!
Like in scene, like she just reverses Jackie and she just.
I think she's doing what we all wish we could.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm living the.
She just becomes like a single cell.
No, Chronica is literally Thanos just dusts them.
She's gonna go back and then have Takeda hook up with Frost instead, like it should have been.
The thing about playing with the timeline is you can do a Sindel scene, kill a whole bunch of people at once, and then undo it at the end of the game and be like, now you're not mad.
Oh
You
yeah,
brought
and we
him back.
forgot. There's also Serena, Lee May. Where do they fit into this?
We're
getting to the point where they're like they're not on. Like,
Lee May fans, I'm sorry.
Lee May fans, yeah, I'm
sorry, Tim.
Okay, so we're over here kind of going off. Temp, Django, where are you at on this roster right now? Do you still have faith that these characters we're listing off, even half of them make this roster? Are you starting to get a little paranoid, like I am especially?
I am too, yeah.
That these guys aren't making it, and we're gonna get a Skarlet and a Baraka and Shang and Noob and maybe one and Cabal and maybe one other as like a. Here we gave you something you like. Complain about the rest. I don't know. I'm not saying they're vindictive like that. I'm saying that's where I feel like this is
25 characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here's one 3D era character for DLC a la Baracho.
Yeah.
I think they have to do it this way, though, guys. I know we all want our favorite characters to be in here, but then there's nothing else left to do in the future.
I mean,
you do have to save some stuff for DLC. Expecting only the 6 that have been advertised is really lowballing DLC. There's going to be at least a second pack.
There has to be.
I don't assume anything at this point.
What's
like,
the final roster?
Every time we've assumed something was the case, it ends up biting us in the
After
end.
DLC.
Well,
Complete edition.
We just don't know if that's
Okay,
the
well,
final
yeah,
count.
if this is real, it's
36?
25 boxes. Shao Kahn, I think, will be
It'll be
an
26.
extra box.
On
So
top of
26. So then another 6 and another 6 is...
Well, Shao Kahn will be here.
30,
He pushed
38
Geras
total.
over here.
38.
That sounds
Yeah.
reasonable
Yeah.
for final roster. Yeah.
But like, why would you? I don't know.
I don't know.
man.
Temp Django, where you at?
Yeah, you.
Let Randy Django go first.
Randy, Django.
Uh, no, then I'm kind of sad.
See, Kano, now you're throwing another one into the mix.
I don't
That
think
would-
Kano's in.
You got
I don't.
I think Kano's sending bar. That's it.
Yeah.
His,
Thankfully.
His
Sorry.
NPC status.
Kano
my theory
was on the menu screen for, I think, local fight. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that means anything.
I guess he's in the background of the Black Dragon Fight Club too, though. So maybe that is.
He's got a Hogan stash too.
Maybe that's his representation in the game.
Straight up a triple guard.
See that picture there? He has a new, looks like a new look to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a picture of Kano right there, and there was a picture of Kano at the reveal.
That doesn't mean that they're playable characters.
Yeah, but why? Yeah, but like, remember what they said about Katana? And Katana's on the.
But Katana was on the customize button.
Yeah.
That's a button just for people who you
but
can
this
customize.
This one also says local. You're like it defines matching up against characters, and why would you put a character that's not even playable?
That
to
makes
represent-
that's a fair point. If you're gonna do local fight 1 versus 1, why would you feature a character? Granted, this art could change, but
Yeah, this looks like concept art. They could switch that out. In 2
I don't know.
seconds.
I mean, you have a fair point.
I don't know how early this build is.
Temp, Django, where are you at?
To prevent spiraling like everyone is doing, like we're all doing, I'm not thinking about it. It's, the select screen, like I'm not gonna make any judgments. Yeah, 25 spots on there, and yeah, we already have like half of this for, but it seems so weird that I'm not gonna do what I did in MKX and be like, oh, there's definitely more shit. Oh, Fujin is hella there. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna be like, I don't fucking know. And that just, I don't know, dude. It stinks. It's smelly. There's fish. I smell fishiness.
The best part, I guess, is that
I don't
we
know
don't
if the
have long.
fishiness is because they've been bad or because they will shenanigan around what we're ever. They've been doing some shenanigans so far though with this stuff, but I'm already going too far. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do.
I guess the least disappointing part is we won't have long to wait to find out. I'm sure.
Yeah,
3 months at the
we're
latest.
Gonna find out
so
quick. We'll probably find out a little bit more on the combat.
There's a lot of things they could do with that select screen to fit in more spaces.
Yes,
I can say that
yes,
much.
that is a
It's
possibility.
very roomy.
Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even just roomy as it is. We've already seen them shrink boxes to make room for more boxes.
Yeah.
So I could, and there's no guarantee that stays a diamond shape. They could just make it vertical like other games. So
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, they just like fill in those shape
boom,
spots.
boom.
There's like there's just room for all kinds of shit, literally and figuratively. That don't fucking tie the noose just yet, everybody.
Yeah, no. It's just giving concerns. This has been pretty much primarily positive. That was my one
Easily.
concern of a takeaway.
Yeah.
The other thing was, and I don't remember who mentioned this, it was one of you, I think it was RainReptile, who said Frost seems less likely of a chance because Sub throwing ice daggers and having...
I don't see her at all. Sub-Zero plays like how I thought Frost would. I don't see Frost at all anymore.
I think she's DLC at best. I agree.
Maybe Premier skin for this Sub-Zero.
Alright, we're done here.
Idea from me.
Man, Frost was top of my wish list.
Mine too. But
I like Sub-Zero, but I want faster, nimbler, quicker Sub-Zero.
now you got him.
Sub-Zero gives that to me. Plus, she just looks cool. So
Now Sub-Zero can
No
feel
pun
like a
intended.
woman.
I've always he's not dead. It's just I agree with you. I mean, Frost, I figured quick and throwy things, and Sub-Zero doesn't play as much. I mean, he's already doing things he didn't normally do. He's like, what do you do with her now? I don't know.
Nothing. you put her in MK12.
I feel it, man.
But she was on the top, not on the top, but she was like top 3 of a lot of polls that I had seen.
Yeah.
She's very
There's that
popular.
Event Hubs article.
She's very popular. She's one of the most.
There's like me and Tip, we were watching the stream, it's in our reaction, and it's like, oh, well, we listen to you guys for our characters, and it's like,
I mean,
no, you don't. You showed us Skarlet, and Skarlet was like, listen, Brusk wanted Skarlet, he's happy, but
I feel like Skarlet was a personal pick of Sean Kittleson.
Well,
she was not topping all of the lists. Those lists too,
There was that poll that Ed did make, where he was asking the poll that Jade won, where he asked your most missed female character. Skarlet came in second place over Sindel, a UMK3 character, a classic. So that says something. Even though one poll doesn't define everything, that is definitely a
contributing factor.
Yeah, and a contributing factor, and I catch her that she would beat a classic like Sindel. Now, granted, sometimes there's a part of the community that doesn't really like Sindel, but still, classic.
Skarlet, in some ways, though, kind of has almost a huge, long history.
Yeah.
She's existed as a concept and, like, kind of an idea.
Fujin has had a pretty long history. He's been pretty requested on a lot of lists.
Like, Ermac started as a rumor, and then...
And Havoc, I guess, is another one you could add to that list of characters.
Havoc was never coming back. I keep telling you why he was killed in the comic is so they don't have to bring him back.
All right. Well, then let's not reiterate it. Basically, So, Temp, I guess this is a good question for you. Lee May, what are you thinking? She even has a shot at this point?
I do think she has a shot, because I think the whole cameos in MKX was...
Yeah, that's what I thought, too. She's DLC at best, though.
Yeah. Here's the thing, like...
Once upon a time, I loved a vampire.
I mean, it has to be Smoker or Lee May. I need one of those two. If I get both, excellent, but I need to have at least one. Because... There's too many fighting games. There's way too many fighting games. And Tekken gave me my main. Fucking shitty KOF 14 gave me my main. So I'm not gonna learn. I'll play casually, but I'm not gonna put sweat and blood into a game that gave me my 5th favorite character. At least not again. I'm not doing that twice. So if I don't get one of those characters, then I'm going to Texas Showdown in May. I will not be entering MK11. So it's kind of like do or die. I got my noose ready.
Temp, I don't think I believe you.
I believe.
I'm sorry.
Is this a newspaper bet?
Uh-oh.
He just starts playing Sonya.
Oh no! I hate this kid.
I agreed with you up until now. Now like I said, I feel like it's getting to the Hunger Games and who's gonna make it in.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's like we get 5 or 6 more characters that were on like a big fan demanded list, and that somehow we make room, and that there's more than 25. I mean, we all said
it should
for the starting roster we hoped for 28 to 30, but maybe the new engine and the other stuff just made
energy they're putting into the gear system and the variants.
But I mean, even Injustice 2 started with 29 characters, so I mean, it is. I don't know.
If the rhythm of that fan-made roster continues, including Jade and Rain,
I think those are good choices. It's just I want the right 3D era representations and a couple more of the UMK3 characters.
I feel like the 3D era characters at this point, if they're going to do them, make more sense as DLC just because of the story being about let's see the characters who were in 9 and the characters where they are now and compare and contrast with the time thing. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to see a lot of like MK9 returnees. Like I think, Shang Tsung, Noob Saibot, Jade, those are very likely. Frost, Lee May, not so much.
I want at least 2 3D era characters on the starting roster.
It would be nice.
2.
I just
that's not too
We
much.
might get Kenshi.
He is an MKX character.
I give I'll tell you right now, I give Quan Chi a better chance of being on this roster, starting roster, than I give someone like Lee May or Serena.
He's not Mythology's character.
The weird thing is, I'm faster than you are, but if Quan Chi's on there, that's totally gonna reverse.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
I think I would honestly give Shiva better odds as being on this roster.
Well, you know what?
Than most of the 3D era
I feel like Shiva's not terribly unlikely just because she became the queen in the comic.
You know?
Like, Kittleson obviously has a soft spot for her.
There has to be an influence, but I don't think it's going to be too much because he's not.
Well, no,
I
I think it's just like Kittleson, whatever say he has, I want Skarlet and I want Shiva, and then I'm good.
Yeah,
because those were the characters he built up the most, and those were the built up the most and that did not kill. Were Skarlet and Shiva.
Right.
Motaro never.
Probably not ever, but even like Fatalkade, there was something.
Right.
Mr. Horseman.
The biggest bummer to me is the possible Aaron, actually, because their
so
problem is
weird.
always creating new ones, and even the ones that work, they don't always build upon.
Bring back right away or whatever.
The slight amount of negative reaction they get almost deters them from continuing with what worked.
I would
feel
still
like with
Cole and Aaron have a better chance than a Cyrex or.
Yeah, it's so weird. Why would they miss out on 2 games without the cyborgs? Like original cyborgs, like the actual characters.
I'm preaching to a Cyrex guy right now, but
you're preaching to the cyborg.
Well, did you notice that one of the time tower challenges? I think it was Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero got Cyrex's net. It was.
Oh gosh, yeah, you're talking about the Towers of Time.
The Towers, yes.
It's the same.
Rain and Cyrex got the modifiers.
It's the same stuff in MKX where the random net comes in from off screen. I don't think it necessarily cancels them out.
Yeah, that's not necessarily indictment how likely it is that they just copied that stuff, the code for that over from the last game.
Right. Sure.
The test your luck.
But
things.
yeah, I wasn't too thrilled when I saw it. I was like, wait a minute. Why is there a net coming off screen? Stop it.
Honestly, I think Rain is kind of sort of likely. I feel like him
Fandom
being
man.
in that picture on the select or on the menu.
If that's him, but yeah. I agree. Fandom and Rain is in that same conversation with the others, so I wouldn't be mad about
Rain
it.
and Jade are the that get spammed with the most on Twitter.
It's not even the purple, it's like the bun. That's what gives it away. Like, I can
unless
believe there's a purple
Ed is
character.
actually sick of being told their
we're getting
names, so he's spiting them out. But
Other
I don't
Rain
think
fans
that.
come after me on Twitter like saying spam Ed with us, and I'm like, no, like, I'm not gonna do it.
You're good to go.
Looking at all like the high prio characters right now, like we've seen Noob's image on a Tower of Time. We've got like these Rain hints right now. Shang Tsung seems really likely because of all these backgrounds that revolve around this time. If we even just get those 4, I'm already pretty goddamn happy.
Who?
Yeah. Honestly.
Who?
Rain and like Shang and Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Did I not say Jade? I'm getting tired.
That
It's
is
been a
Jade.
long day.
Yeah,
Noob,
right.
Jade as well and
Shang, Jade, Rain.
Noob,
Pretty
Shang,
much.
Jade,
They're good classics.
Cabal,
I would say
Cabal
that
two.
that gets us about 85 or 90% there. I still think you need a 3D era character,
You need,
which none
you
of
need
those
more.
were.
You need at the most 3. Oh,
one
at
at this
the
point is
least
fine.
2. At the least 2.
I still think you need a cyborg.
Well,
Come on now.
there's
You
another
need a cyborg.
There's another point out. One of our friends here from MKO pointed out that one of those 4 menu pictures, there's one of Katana and one of Rain. One of them shows Liu Kang standing next to. They were pretty sure it was Ashra.
Which
I would love Asha. She was like
my
my,
God, that is one hell of a good 3D era pick. Like,
she was my
hell
number 3 on my wish list. I just
Yeah.
didn't give her much of a chance. I think she was
Who'da
likely at all.
thunk? Yeah.
It was hard to tell because all you could really see was the hat, and glance at it, you think, okay, it's Raiden. But the shape of the hat was much more flat and round, like Asha's hat.
Interesting.
But there was the text block over the body.
I just have a hard time believing Asher would make it in. As much as I like her and want her in, she would make it in over a lot of the other characters we just mentioned.
Ed did say she had an 11% chance.
It's true.
Well, I just think
Confirmed.
I never thought of that as a hint because they didn't even know who was gonna way back in 2014. Why would they? How would they already decide the character would be in the game later? Like, no, I never thought as that.
It's just from my personal perspective. If you're like sitting objectively and you've got a list of 3D era characters, and you're like, we just did Kenshi several times in a row. Who else do we like?
Yeah.
And Havoc is dead. Most of those guys people don't like, but Ashra feels like a big maybe just because she's one of the more unique.
Yeah, and I also think it's in one of my videos that I said I think she should represent deception. Like I think there should be a character or two.
It's just because when they do rep the 3D era, it's always Deadly Alliance.
Yeah,
so it's time for like a single Deception to throw us a bone.
This roster, the only way I think this is going to be one where we get a lot of those fan favorites in it is if it is like a Deadly Alliance situation where a big chunk of the characters that we thought were coming back are just scrapped, and we're getting what you need from MKX, and then all of the other ones are just going to be filled with favorites.
Because I mentioned before,
See,
I don't
either
see
Serena or Devora. I'm gonna say Serena.
And like I could totally see Rain and Noob replacing Ermac and Reptile.
Yeah, hell
At this point, I want Noob Smoke as a tag team. Get him in there.
Rain and Noob instead of Ermac and Reptile, that would be desperately needed.
Yeah.
That transition is desperately needed.
See, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like
I still want Reptile, but
honestly, every game. But he could sit out once in a while, please.
I don't care for Reptile.
I love you,
I'd be fine
Reptile,
with
but
him being
please,
gone.
I don't want you smelling like garbage again.
Talk about new character, potential new
Well,
character.
I love what they showed me. I
really
don't want to see
hope
anymore.
those are the only two.
Please.
I kind of
similar. They almost feel like
Yeah, I don't think you could just do those.
Yeah.
What do you got in mind?
Well, the only one we've heard is Geras.
Well, here's my thing.
Chronica, but
Chronica's not
Sure.
playable. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Lots of rumors about Kano's son being in
Yeah,
the
that keeps happening.
no more-
and honestly,
no more kids.
that's the
Randy.
only name that I could actually see fitting in this story.
And that's
as a new character. Like, I can't even imagine what another new character could be, because obviously this is all about time and showing old versions and new versions had for the past two games.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got two time people, they fit. Who else would fit? The only thing that makes sense to me is son, as uncreative as another child is.
But it further solidifies my theory that Kano's not playable.
That would also
Well, I
be
hope so.
yeah.
He's taking bar, man. He's busy.
Yeah, he's busy.
Yeah, man,
He can step back and follow his real passion now that his son is ready to take up
Honestly,
the family
I would
business.
really enjoy if you fight with Kano's son during Kano back there cheering him on like, oh, that's my boy! I taught him that command grab!
Just like I told you that a punch, you pussy!
Oh, you're doing it all wrong.
That's not what you
That's not a knife.
It's supposed to be ear to ear.
All right, roster talks. You guys, did you need to take off right now? I think all they wanted to talk about is story. Did you have anything to touch upon? I know we got like a bunch of
story side.
No, we didn't get much at all.
Yeah.
We
Which
saw,
is good.
You saw a shit ton of clips.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
fast cuts.
we saw basically how Shinnok got his head cut off like we didn't know. We saw Chronica. We know Jennifer Hale voices her. That's a good pick, I think. She's a
I
good
was
voice
impressed with
I
what I
love
saw of
Jennifer
her.
Hale,
Yeah.
We basically that we already kind of knew about what Chronica's deal is. The things that are interesting to me are the shots of stuff like Raiden surrounded by an army of demons in the Netherrealm and just cutting through lightning swords or something. Like, lightning now. That's weird. And then, like, Sonya, like, Tana and Lu's Netherrealm Palace. And then the really exciting shots to me were, like, not dead Liu Kang and Kung Lao running around as a team doing stuff. Because that's to be, like, the main heroes. And to go back to that classic feeling of when the Shaolin monks weren't being shat on and killed.
Yes, I would. Yeah,
It gave me
I
Shaolin
think-
Monks nostalgia.
I meant
actually.
and I was like, I'm really hoping the heroes again. That'll be.
Well, it
pretty
looked
awesome.
like they were.
Yeah, it seemed like, and they were confronting their revenant selves. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were beating up their own revenant selves, and there's a bit. They show a little bit more of it in the London footage, and you can hear Kung Lao say like, "The thought of turning into."
Nice.
Real quick, MKO is out. Thank you for having us on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
We
great
appreciate
getting
it.
to meet you in real life.
Yeah, it's awesome. Probably gonna have to cut
We'll
this out.
do this again for MK12.
Oh yeah. MK12 man.
It's all part of the novelty.
I'm gonna be home by 4.
You're a madman.
I am.
Absolutely insane.
Oh, thank you.
Nethercash.
I hope that coffee keeps you going. Another Nethercast shirt, which I will be wearing on the next MKO live
Cheers,
stream.
man.
Sent you guys.
Safe travels home.
Appreciate the drop.
Good rest of your
Yes.
Are awesome. I'm gonna miss you dudes until
Absolutely.
next time we have an excuse to hang out.
Come back,
Nice meeting you, dude. It was fun.
Yep.
It's supposed to be surprise.
Take it easy, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry,
dude.
Tim.
Nice to meet you.
Take care.
Randy's still there too.
Yeah, Randy's still on.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we're saying goodbye to them, and we'll wrap this up soon. I think we're all. We have plenty to talk about on our next episode on everything we missed, but continue talking about story, whatever you guys got, and then we'll wrap this up.
Sure. Yeah. So we left off on confronting the Revenant selves, and big plus Hiddleston over there, and I even took a picture of him. You can check my Twitter, and I mentioned to him that you guys are bringing back the original characterizations of Liu Kang Kung Lao being like pacifist heroes like they were in the original timeline, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna really love our the way we sort of portray and like these characters, and like you're gonna, I think nostalgia fans, the fans of the old time will be really happy with what they see in the story mode." And I'm like, "Thank you so much. That's all I really wanted to. That's all really I could ask for." So
yeah.
Hiddleston really seems like it seems like from what I've seen, it seems like he's trying to deliver in that area, and I'm really excited to see what story mode offers.
Yeah, I think the thing for me is that over the past couple games, I've obviously been very down on like the lack of representation for the 3D era, but at this point, it almost feels like I don't even need that right now. Let's spend this game fixing that's in this era, and then maybe MK12 can show us more like 3D era stuff.
There's always the.
This is too important right now. Yeah.
One day we'll revisit Order Realm.
That's how I always feel too. Maybe
Today's
the
not
next
that
game. Yeah, I mean, so that was story. It looks fantastic. I love the teaser, the stages that we saw, very short glimpses of in there. The cinematics, the animations, and the facial animations and model, fantastic step up in terms of, and I think this obviously is one-upping it even further with the Unreal Engine 4. So it looked fantastic. Temp, Django, Randy, anything you guys got on story impressions?
I just really liked the short clip that they showed of Raiden and Shinnok and Chrono really well. Writing improved. It's not as hacky. Last line, she said something about it's a map. Besides that,
I like even seeing him.
I mean, I made the same jokes when I was praising Chronica. Yeah. So.
Speaking of dialogue, there is one last thing I really want. All of the intros that we saw while we were playing sounded like real conversation. Mix and match canned audio from Injustice. I'm super happy with the intros so far. I think the writing really has gotten better.
Also, did you know some of them had 4 tones?
Oh yeah.
Somebody would say something and then they'd say it back.
There was only
it wasn't always 1-1-1.
Yeah. And then there was also they were also very limited on the intro dialogues in the demo that we played for spoilers to avoid spoilers.
They did that in X2. They didn't show as many by releasing more intros with each X.
Yeah.
So to all the intros, and especially because like in a world where a guy like Baraka who element maybe he doesn't do those intros are really gonna be what makes his character.
And he's with again Geras, something serve only the strongest. It's like, but you spent the entire time on your knees. We bow only to the strong, and he's like, your entire history.
Slap. Man, I'd also love there's this clip of Scorpion hitting the dab when he teleports.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Temp, Django, thoughts on story? Alrighty then.
I was waiting for Django to talk.
What were you saying, Temp?
To speak, but I'll go real quick.
Go for it.
Yeah, I don't have any real story thoughts necessarily. I just think the game looks brilliant. I think it looks really good, and I mean, I don't mean to hold the game hostage, but just I want to play everything, and I can't. So I really hope I get something I can latch on to, and if I don't, it's okay. Like it's. If other people love it, that's more important. But
think of it this
way.
way.
I would really hope I have a future with this game. That's really because it's so good.
Think of it this way, dude. Towards the end of MKX, what did you do? You started playing all sorts of characters, right? You talked about how great it was to like not stay with one character, but to learn all sorts of different characters, and you wish you had done that sooner. At worst case scenario, and I'm in the same boat. Worst case scenario. Neither of our mains make it into the game that we really wanted. My case, Cyrax or Frost. Your case, Lee May or Smoke. I mean, we're literally in like the same boat we both have a 3D era character that's not exactly likely, and we both have a trilogy era character that we really, I mean, both are technically cyborgs, so we're in the same boat with similar odds. But I guess my point was, if neither of those make it, you always have the roster to explore and try and find characters that you have fun with. Because if the game's fun and you enjoy learning new characters and labbing and whatnot, I think you're still going to have fun with this game, and you'll find characters that you will enjoy, even if it does suck that our characters didn't necessarily make it.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly agree with that. It's resource capital. There's too many fighting games, and I don't want. I like Lars, you know. I like Sungmina. I don't want to trade them out for Skarlet.
Wow, ouch, man.
That's a compliment. She's the only character on the roster I would even consider maining at this point. Maybe Cabal, but I mean, last night I spent an hour. All I did was Korean backdashing. That's all I did. And yeah, I don't know. Like, it's not a boycott. It's gonna be amazing, but it's just I gotta decide what do I want to be good at and what do I want to bleed for. You know, that's really what it comes down to.
All right, Django, where are you at? Story.
I'm trying to review all of the stories things that I saw today, and I'm not that interested in anything they showed story wise. I didn't care for the prologue because, you know, we all saw it. 99% of it was stuff that we already knew about. I like the way that the dialogue is written. I like the cinematography is really great. It's much better even. MKX was a giant jump up from MK9's cinematography, and this is still even a giant jump. But as far as what's actually going on, there's nothing that interesting, and I'm not that interested with either Geras or Kronika so far. Like, when Kodal showed up, I felt like he made things more interesting, and he had other stuff going on, whereas Kronika, I feel like she is just a walking plot device to do the time stuff, to bring back other kids. You know, I'm not into the balance as a plot device. As soon as you say balance, I'm like, okay, there isn't actually a thing here. Obviously, it's way too soon to judge completely. Way too soon. But as far as just that story stuff goes, I'm not that interested in it. But that's okay, because the gameplay looks really fun and sounds even more fun. I can't wait to play this game, but yeah, so far, yeah, the story's not doing it for me, and obviously, this roster needs some, yeah.
There was one thing I thought was really interesting about, like, a little piece of dialogue in the Raiden and Shinnok prologue that we saw, where it felt like new information somehow, or like a tease for new information, and it's the bit where Shinnok says, "You're wearing my amulet, that means you've accepted what I've said all along, that the Elder Gods kicked me out for." And I wonder what that is. Like, if it's information about the nature of the one being, or if it's about, like, how the gods should treat mortals. I'm just, like, even when Shinnok's gone, to get more of his backstory is exciting to me.
Don't be surprised.
It's a good point.
I mean, but at the same time, he's talking about, like, potentially, I'm guessing, like...
Well, yeah, it's like, it's hinting there's a story to the amulet that, like, it means something beyond just I made this thing and put all my power into it.
I think it's trying to call back to the mythology storyline.
And if Raiden's going to be wearing that amulet the whole game and they're going to be pointing it out, it's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, well, what I thought about that line of dialogue, what I think it meant, it was like a callback to his mythology story where he believed that he should rule over the mortals. I mean, yeah, that's kind of like what I through that dialogue meant.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There are possibilities.
Yeah, he's like, so you see what I'm talking about. The mortals should be ruled over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like the possibilities. Like, the thing I loved about the variation system was the possibility that possessed Kenshi could be an avenue.
Yeah.
Things like that they didn't do. And that was the disappointment. but the fact that the idea existed at one point in time and could have been used, that's exciting.
Yeah, totally.
I think that I agree. It's fun sitting there listening to Raiden and Shinnok talk, which is fun. Hey, that's an interesting change for Mortal Kombat. Like we got that a couple times in KX, like when Scorpion and Sub-Zero talked. That was a really good scene, and I'm glad that that's here, and I can do that. I can just listen to these two characters and be interested. But as soon as the other thing comes in with Chronica, it's like you're just gonna bring this cool conversation that's going on with whatever it is that you're up to. Oh, like whatever balance or whatever. I'm not that
Chronica
interested in it.
as a plot device.
If we want to keep seeing those two, something else happen. I would really like to see that.
I mean,
but
the end of
if
that
gets
scene
headed
is
off-
the end of Shinnok as a person. He's now a stage interactable. He's a head in the background of like that churchy looking place. And I'm fine with that. Shinnok he did what he needed to do and he's finished. I just like the idea that as long as Raiden is wearing his amulet and they're hinting that there's more to what the amulet is meant for. And also, like, you're talking about, like, not being interested in Chronica in Geras because they are just the time thing happen. And that's not untrue, but I really want the time thing to happen, so I'm welcoming that plot device with open arms.
And plus, like, Chronica's an interesting character to me because she's not like previous MK bosses and that they're black and white. No, Chronica seems more morally
Yeah,
gray.
that's the interesting thing. Like, I would love for this game to end with, like, Marvel Civil War, are you with Cap or are you with Tony? And you can pick Chronica's side.
I'm gonna pick Chronica's side.
Yeah. I think most people probably are.
Yeah.
I mean, she very well might be wrapped up in the origins of the amulet.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I'd see
does
another
this have to
shoe
be A
dropping
or
or
B?
something that makes us hate her, even though I don't want to. But
I mean,
just
there
see
there
being
is a moment where we see that she is attacking young, not dead Liu Kang for not being on her side.
Yeah, she's like, she has this dialogue where she says, once again, you've chosen the wrong path for your destiny, Liu Kang. Something like that in that clip. I was rewatching it a couple
She's
hours
gonna be like a
earlier.
control freak, just like Raiden in the sense, but she just has a different path.
Should be
but,
better, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's some interesting story analysis. I think we're all just wanting to see more and more of this game already. We want to see more on the roster. I think, like I said, not to rehash the roster thing, but like, man, I want to see more. Like, I want to see more than these 7 characters, and that's a good thing. Is always wanting to see more, but we gotta have more. In 2 weeks till Cabal, if that's literally the next thing we get. I mean, it's gonna feel like a long 2 weeks.
We might get another. They might surprise us with another. in the
Maybe.
podcast.
But I mean, that we pretty much covered at least 90% of what we saw.
Are we
so-
thinking chapter system for the story mode? Just real quick.
I'm
Is that what it
pretty
looked-
sure they're not gonna change that.
It looked pretty likely to me as
Yeah,
well.
pretty much.
It looked like the setup for a chapter system.
But on that note, I'm wrapping this up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting
I
late.
think
Thanks
yeah,
everybody for tuning in live for our episode 100. If you haven't joined the Discord, do so.
And we
We
still
had,
got everyone who's tuning in live. Like,
yeah, I
there's a
know.
lot.
We had a lot of people, obviously, for this. I mean, we had a ton of people. Thanks, Brus, for the shout out, and
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, man.
thanks
Yeah.
again.
Thanks for
RainReptile, Randy, Brusk, everybody for coming on and going to this event with us. Thanks. It's MK Cone, right, or Mr. Cone in the Discord. We saw him at the event as well.
Right.
So cool. Nice to meet you. Thanks NRS for having this awesome event and WB for hosting it. Obviously, they're the ones backing that type of event.
And
So
inviting us and letting us show up. And by the way, we got everybody with a VIP status, which was like a specific color wristband, got tote bags on our way out, and the tote bags contained like one of those gold coins, like is in all the invites, and they contained hourglasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
full-size
Yeah.
real hourglasses with
Like
the
a
MK
foot
logo
tall.
on them.
really awesome.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even dream of selling something like this. This is a
Moment to be cherished.
I've been using mine.
It is on my
Like
desk.
every time the sand runs out, he's been tipping it back over.
And I think he tipped it over at least 4 times.
times.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I
4
mean,
hours.
it was a hell of an
Jesus
event.
fuck.
It's been a great couple of nights, and it's just been fantastic. Hopefully, you guys all enjoyed the event and enjoyed this episode where we dive into it. I mean, we have so much more, I feel like, to really kind of analyze.
Like,
Obviously, we haven't even really
like touch stages at all.
Well, all of us that went, we haven't really had time to sit down and analyze details. So expect our 301. Geez, I'm looking at 3 hours and 1 minute of recording so far. Episode 101 for us to touch upon these things again in finer detail. But obviously, we had a lot of voices, so I didn't want to belabor on a point too long because we had a lot to get through, and if we dived into it as much as we probably would like, that we would be here for another 3. We got flights to catch and all that. So anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. I can't thank you guys enough. Thanks for sticking with us for all these years. To the future, Infinity and Beyond, Buzz Lightyear, all that good stuff. Thanks Temp and Django for doing the awesome live recording earlier, and joining us for this. And so thanks everybody, just in general.
For making all this happen.
For
Randy and I out here.
Being a good community. This is awesome. We have friendship.
You brought this together.
This is awesome.
Thank you to all the Netherkast guys. You guys are the best.
Yeah. No, like, I know a lot of you guys out there are probably like tuned in like past 3 a.m. now.
Who knows,
like
man?
on the East Coast and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, my heart is with you. That's where I'm going back to tomorrow.
Yes.
But thank you for like powering through this with us so late at night. We love you. We do this for you, and it's wonderful.
May the elder gods watch over you.
At the end of the day, we're all about the community. That's what we care about most, and I think we have that. So I could not be more thankful. I'm always going to do what I can to help everybody out, and because I appreciate what everybody does for us in return. You guys are super supportive, loyal, awesome, and just it's nice to have a community. So anyways, to future opportunities and fun times and all that good stuff. And we will see you guys next time.
Later, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you for everything. So happy to be a part of this.
No, you're not.
You don't care.
I think we can all agree it's about that time.
Friendship again?